program development and how it would look in the future. And the Holsworth Foundation will leverage the resources to design a world-class training program. Benefits of this program include working with the Holsworth staff and experts to learn best practices from organizations inside and outside the education field that have built high-performance talent management systems. So we will be attending learning sessions at the campus, the Holsworth campus on Lake Austin, which is a retreat setting that will allow the teamwork and collaboration with network of peers from other districts to develop aligned systems and structures. The program will begin this fall and will end in spring of 2023. The session dates for the 21-22 school year for the fall will be September 15 through 17, October 12 through 15, and December 1 through 4th. Spring sessions will be February 21 through 24 and April 20 through 22nd. And when we got the call, we were very, very excited. But then when I saw the dates and all of that, you know, how we don't like to be away from the school district. However, the Holsworth Foundation is making a huge investment in this training and in our district because they will be bringing in experts from all over the country, from universities such as Yale and so forth. And all the training, books, meals, mileage, and lodging will be covered by the Holsworth Foundation. And so they only select a few school districts for this particular program. So this will be zero charge to our school district. On another note, the South Texas Associations of Schools, whose work is advocating for Texas children, has voted me in as one of 2 superintendents representing Hidalgo County on the board of directors. And that's all I have for today.
Congratulations. Congratulations very much.
Okay. Moving on to transforming teaching and learning, Dr. Roberts.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. With Transforming Teaching and Learning, this evening we will be having Mr. John Roger Hill, our curriculum director, presenting on the Bilingual Resilient Support School Support Program grant. If you will recall, this is a grant that we applied for in the spring and were awarded in April. And so we opted to target our EL population across the district. What ended up happening was that they said we can only choose 5 schools and so we selected 5 schools, 2 elementaries, 2 junior highs, and 1 high school, which are Castro Elementary, Cantu Elementary, Alton Memorial Junior High, K. White Junior High, and Mission High School. And we will be targeting 2nd grade, 6th grade, and English 1 and English 2. We had a good meeting with them this afternoon, and part of what we do, we need to present to the board. So we're very excited about partnering with them and having them work alongside us as we target our EL population. Mr. Hill?
Good evening, board members. In a moment, I'm going to share the presentation. I'll take you through it. I've been lucky enough to be part of this committee since about May, and I think we're making great progress. And we had principals as part of it, and it's exciting to share it with you. So let me see how this works. And here we go. All right, I do believe that you should be seeing the presentation. The presentation was created by Miss Angie Martinez, who was not able to be here this evening. So this is the RSSB COVID-19 Recovery and Acceleration Plan for school year 2021-2022. First things first, this is the overview of the planning processes to date. So what is the Resilient School Support Program, RSSP, and COVID-19 Recovery and Acceleration Planning? Well, the RSSP is a customized technical assistance to build robust COVID recovery and acceleration plans using continuous improvement cycles. MCISD will continue to seek to improve student outcomes in an approach that is inclusive and supportive of the broader school community, particularly campus leaders, teachers, and families. And who's on our RSSP planning committee? Kim Risica is the RSSP project lead. Angelina Martinez is also the RSSP project lead. Myself, curriculum and instruction lead. Sergio Coronado is the data lead. Brenda Bocanegra is the bilingual department advisory, and Janelle Garza, bilingual department advisor. So the overview of the planning process to date, what have been our key actions? Data analysis, we spent a lot of time really digging into the data. And from that data, we were able to select 5 focus schools, grade levels, and subject areas. I'll speak to that in a slide a little bit later on. We've had stakeholder meetings. As a matter of fact, we met with the principals of those 5 focus schools today. We have looked at the foundation and universal strategies that we've identified. And we've identified urgent action steps and aligned acceleration work to other district efforts, because we don't want this operating against or in isolation from other initiatives that we have going on in the district. So in terms of topics that we've discussed, we're going to look today at the summary of the key decisions regarding the learning acceleration strategies and the prioritized student groups. We're going to look at the alignment to those other initiatives. We're going to look at a short-term plan, and we're going to look at the stakeholder engagement plan. So first, learning acceleration strategies. The first strategy we have is to prioritize essential grade level knowledge and skills. And what that means is it's to ensure access to instructional leaders with the time and the skill necessary to identify the prioritized standards. It's to build capacity and to update instructional materials to reflect this prioritization. And it's to train teachers on the importance of prioritized standards and how to modify their planning and instruction accordingly. When we're looking and dealing with COVID, it's really important we know which are the really big bang for the buck standards, knowing we need to accelerate those students because of that loss of instructional time. And our rationale, high priority and high effort level. One curricular focus is to build capacity in instructional leaders that have been identified, and there's a capacity within the district to train teachers and reflect those prioritized standards. When we look at prioritized student groups, well, what we've looked at in terms of the focus schools, and we got this from the data analysis, we're going to look at Castro and Cantu, second grade reading. We're going to look at K. White Junior High School and Alton Memorial Junior High, 6th grade, ELA and EL early intervention. And for Mission High School, we're going to look at 9th grade and English 1 and 2 and EL early intervention. And our student group is going to be English learners. The reason why this was chosen, reading and ELA have been challenge areas for EL students who have had limited opportunity for language practice in the remote environment. At the elementary level, MCISD has chosen to focus on 2nd grade reading in light of the foundational learning gaps seen in 1st grade reading. At the secondary level, MCISD will focus on the transitional grades, 6th and 9th, to prepare students as they begin junior high and high school. In terms of alignment to other initiatives, well, we have quite a few really wonderful initiatives going on in Mission CISD. The first one is the teacher incentive allotment, and Dr. Sharon Roberts is in charge of that one. And the TIA will align with SLOs supported by RSSP, because of student learning objectives, what we want our students to learn. Well, we will look at that in RSSP and provide that level of support. And our next big step is to apply SLOs as a district-wide measurement. As a matter of fact, I was working on that earlier today. When we look at the Mission Rights Initiative, now in its 3rd year, that's myself and Dr. Roberts, and really the entire district has worked hand in hand with this. We can coordinate that with the RSSP literary work. And our next step is to meet with the mission right leaders to align with RSSP. Again, it's that alignment that's really important. We all know about capturing kids' hearts. That's, again, myself, Dr. Sharon Roberts, and now pretty much everyone who works within the district. And the way it aligns is it can support the goals of the SEL and student engagement in RSSP work. And our next steps, and you notice this one's already happened. It's train all teachers on capturing kids' hearts. And you'll notice when going through this presentation, I'll comment on the ones that have made real progress or that we've really almost completed.
And Mr. Hill,
Yes.
excuse me, CEL, social emotional learning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. Sometimes I just read the acronyms without even thinking about it. With the National Professional Development Grant, that's Angie Martinez and Dr. Sharon Roberts, and it's going to enable supplemental professional development for teachers of primary ELs. And we're hoping to hear back on that in September. And the Center for Success of English Learners, that's again Angie Martinez and Dr. Sharon Roberts, and it pertains to all middle school 6th grade focus. It is to identify opportunities to integrate with RSSP. And for dual language, that's elementary, and sheltered instruction, that's secondary, professional development, which we've been working on. That's Angie Martinez and Dr. Sharon Roberts. And it's alignment, all grades, professional development provided at the beginning of the year and throughout the year. And we've been providing the beginnings of that professional development this week, as a matter of fact. And our next step, provide more opportunities to integrate the professional development. And there's a little one at the bottom. We're also awaiting news on the TEA dual language pilot program.
And just if I may say also, I know that I just want to mention that we all work closely as a team. And when Mr. Hill did talk about the TIA, he's been very instrumental in making sure that our application and everything, he's taken it through the final steps and has been very instrumental in that. And all of the dual language, we all work together as a team. So thank you.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the members of the team have a ridiculously long email sitting in their inboxes from me that I sent this afternoon. Short-term action plan. In this particular action item, it's to analyze TEKS to identify focus versus foundational TEKS and prioritize the foundational TEKS in curriculum writing. That says coming weeks, but our curriculum's posted, and that was one of the focuses that we did with the curriculum writing this past summer. So that one is now already set up and ready to go. Our really next steps is to really get into the classrooms, into the PLCs, to make sure to provide that level of support with teachers as they look at those foundational and focused TEKS. We need to recruit tutors using ESSER funds, and I'm sorry, I don't know the acronym for that one offhand. It's way too long. And provide training on foundational TEKS, and that's within the next 1 to 2 months. We need to schedule community engagement activities, in other words, family and community literacy events, and that's in the next 1 or 2 months. We need to embed foundational TEKS and SLOs into assessment and into PLC conversations. You must notice I mentioned that a minute ago, and that's in the next 1 or 2 months. We've actually begun our first trainings on SLO. We've already done it with all the administrators and our first group of 100 teachers to really begin that initiative and really make the goals of TIA something that will positively impact our students across the district. We need to plan curriculum professional development led by the curriculum coordinators. That's actually going to, the PD began today with the new teachers, and it's going to be August 10th, I believe. It's the next step of that particular professional development. And design supplementary supports for dual language leaders. And that's going to be occurring within the next 1 or 2 months. All right, our stakeholder engagement plan. Well, in terms of stakeholder engagement, we're going to look at the families with students identified as ELs. Topics that are of interest, challenges they encountered this past year, the hopes for fall 2021, and really to hear that feedback on their child's education. We're going to be gathering that through a questionnaire, and our next step basically is to collect and analyze the data on that. For elementary and secondary teachers currently assigned to teach ELs, well, we're looking at the challenges that encountered this last year, ideas on how the district can best support the teachers as they support their students, and the lessons to apply to future instructional decisions. Again, questionnaire is going to be our method for gathering that input, and our next step is to collect and analyze. For campus administrators at campuses with high EL populations, we need to look at the aspects of the campus to highlight. So that's really looking at the campus in its whole and really to digging in exactly how we can provide that support and what those priorities are going to be. And look at the plans to address learning loss and social emotional well-being. Now for this one, we're going to gather it by interviews. And again, we need to collect and analyze. And for district level administrators, the priorities for addressing pandemic learning loss and what were our best practices that we learned from the pandemic. We learned a lot as a district, and we want to utilize that learning going forward, especially in in-person instruction. Again, this one too will be interviews, and our next step is to collect and analyze. Our next steps in the planning process is to flesh out the near-term action steps. So take those ideas and really start to calendarize them so we know exactly where we need to go and when we need to do it. We need to finalize the SMART goals. We actually spent today's session, a good amount of it, looking at the SMART goals with the focus campuses, plus the metrics for measuring effectiveness of our selected acceleration strategy, and share those RSSP priorities and strategies with the community via pre-existing channels. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Any questions, feedback?
Wait till you get interviews back.
Pardon, I couldn't quite hear you.
That we'll wait for questions when you get all the feedback from everybody else.
You know what? You need to know what we don't know so you can ask the questions to find out what you need to know.
Right, exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, thank you for all your work.
I'm an old English teacher, so I play with words sometimes.
It's wonderful. But I'm sure we're going to do well.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hill. And just a reminder, it was in this early spring last year that we had brought before the board the teacher incentive allotment. And that is a big focus, because if we get approved for the teacher incentive allotment, then that means that the state will pay our teachers who meet criteria on student learning objectives, certain bonuses. And Mr. Hill has been very instrumental. That's why this year we have been taking our teachers back through the student learning objective trainings in all areas, and the teacher incentive allotment, so that we should find out next week, August the 15th, whether or not we're accepted for this year.
Good.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Hill.
I have a question here. And this is, I don't know if, do we have the scores as to the loss, if there was a loss in the learning process for the ELs during this last year?
The research has shown in our district, I will say that we had approximately 68% that did come in and participate in testing. We are still looking at that. One of the things that we will be working on now is going to be what they call House Bill 4545, which any student that did not pass or did not test will have to go into accelerated learning. So we are working on that plan this week to roll out next week to our principals, and all parents will need to be notified. And so as far as the learning loss, that is something that we will consistently look at. We're looking at possibly doing a beginning of the year assessment to see where the kids truly are. And so that is, all of those things are what we're targeting. I was speaking with some of the coordinators this afternoon, and we know that the research has shown that usually it's the reading area where we really have big gaps, which we do. However, the math is where we have really suffered, and I think that's been across the nation. That kind of does make sense, just because kids will continue to read, but if you come into math, you really do need that in-person direct teach. And so I was speaking with our elementary math coordinator and secondary math coordinators, and so we know that we have those gaps, and we will bring that data to you. We're going to get preliminary data pretty soon from the state as well, even though we are not getting a rating, and we don't want to be discouraging or anything, because we know that we've all been through a pandemic. And what I do know is that we have a plan, and we still have things that we are working on to address the learning loss, but we have the right people. We really do feel we have the right people that will help us to help our students. And so we will be bringing forth more data as we.
This is amazing the plan, but, I just wanted to know the gap, if there was, how big the gap was, because it's, in comparison, but I'm sure that you all will do an amazing job and, you know, if it's implemented the way it's supposed to, like you're saying, you know, I think that by the end of the year, we'll be up there. You know, if we continue what we're doing. And you all do, thank you all, and you all do an excellent job.
And we've been applying for quite a few grants. Another one that we're applying for, and I'm fairly confident that we're going to receive it, is what they call the High Impact Tutoring Grant. We had been originally approved for the first cohort, but it was all during everybody's vacation, and I didn't, you know, all of us were kind of like, okay, we don't really want everybody not to be on vacation and go through all of this training. So now they started cohort 2. So we reapplied last week, and I'm pretty confident that we will get that. That is training for all the leaders so that we can really address tutoring, you know, in a different way so that we can reach children. With House Bill 4545, one of the criteria is that it has to be a 3-to-1 student-teacher ratio.
Yeah.
The students have to receive at least 30 hours of tutoring in any area that they did not pass or did not take. So, we are looking at all of that and seeing how we can help our campuses.
And we do have the SSR funds to hire the tutors, right? So,
Yeah, each campus, each campus, especially in the elementaries, are getting another interventionist, and then they have funding to hire team teachers, substitutes, and tutors that can help with learning loss.
one question, will the campus hire the tutor or will they have to come through the district? Because every campus will be different.
The campus,
Applications will be taken to the I mean, of course, to central to HR, because they've got to do all the background and all of that. But, so, you know, every school will be different, so everybody has allotted so much money for as many tutors as the money,
yes.
that's given to them. Okay.
And
The needs are different in every school, you know,
Exactly.
we all know.
same thing with the elementary interventionists. We've had one interventionist and now they're all getting the second one. We did not say you have to have one reading and one math. We tell them, you know, you need to let us know. You need an upper grade and a lower grade, or do you need one reading, one math? So every campus, exactly like you're saying, they have their individual needs and they'll tell us what their plan is. And so we can,
That is very good, you know, when you give the principal, you know, because they're the ones that are working, and then
Exactly.
given, you know, if it's not happening, it's not because it's on you or anybody else, it's on, you know, whatever's happening on the campus. Thank you.
they have to have that autonomy to address their learning losses. May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Our next item for the Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee is the approval of the optional flexible school day program. You may recall that each year we do bring this before the board. The optional flexible school day program is an alternative way of us addressing attendance and receiving funding for allowing students to have flexible hours. Students do have to be identified at risk. We had used this at Options Academy since 2011, 2012, and with the options, they're highly at-risk children, we know, and sometimes they cannot come in during the regular school day, so we can calculate minutes as long as they're there for 45 minutes, and then over the course of the year, we can divide that out. As long as we don't exceed 43,000 minutes, 43,200 minutes over the year, then we can claim ADA on them. So this year, we are asking for options, but in addition, we would like to apply for all campuses, pre-K through 8th grade, so that those students who may have high absenteeism and these are certain times, that we can also use the optional flexible school day to recover some of that ADA, but also to address their needs. So if we have Saturday tutoring, after-school tutoring, the summer program, we can apply and use the optional flexible school day program. And so we do have to have a public hearing, so we're asking the board for permission to post a public hearing next week before the board meeting. And then once we have that public hearing, then we can proceed with the application process. Are there any questions on the optional flexible school day program?
The application will be, what did you say it was for?
It's optional flexible school day program so that we can have extended hours. If students cannot come during the regular, especially your options children, if they cannot come during the regular school day, they can have after hours, you know, from 4:15 to 7 or 8. And then even on Saturdays, we can count, they can get their ADA, or we can put them on flex day, as long as they're there for 45 minutes with a certified teacher.
And with a certified teacher, and we will probably open up for whoever wants to do the extra jobs or whatever, or whoever we bring in. Do we have the ESSER funds in case we don't have the volunteering that we need?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Hire like anybody wants to work at night,
Absolutely. We can bring in retired teachers.
that's great, thank you.
Teachers and so forth. And even the benefit of extending it to elementary is that we don't have to wait for summer school for learning recovery. Instead, we can do it throughout the year, especially when children need to be out for whatever reason. And we can recuperate that lost time right away. And also, we also have Texas Education Code where students need to be in class, for 90% of the time and so forth. If not, they get retained. So all of that attendance can be recuperated early on, and at the same time, the learning and ADA. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, really.
To me, I can see it because, let's say you have a child that maybe does not want to be with the whole group and would wait, not all the time, but sometimes, would rather wait and come in the afternoon tutoring, if that is
True.
according to how the program is going to run. So he'll never miss out the day. That's,
Exactly. And the program usually, we usually bring it to the board for secondary school students,
great.
especially with options and secondary students.
I like
With our option students that work during the day, then they can come in the evening and put in their hours and recover their credits. However, now in these times, we want to extend it to our elementary students as well. Because we wanted to for them to recover those absences.
Definitely.
And at the same time, catch up with their learning.
I see it as a win-win for our district.
And this will help, like Dr. Pettis said, with regard to the 90% rule, because if a student is absent more, 10% or more, then they don't have to get a grade for a course. If they don't get a grade for a course or the grade level, they don't get promoted up. So this will also help to make sure that we're not,
Definitely.
hold children back.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I have a question.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a question under funding sources NA. What is it NA?
It is NA because this is money that we would recover from the state. So if children are absent, of course, we don't get attendance for them that day.
Oh.
But then at the end of the year, if we do apply for the optional flexible school day, we calculate out the minutes and we can recover average daily attendance for those students up to
Perfect.
300 minutes.
Perfect.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Roberts,
Yes, ma'am.
so right now it is offered to our secondary students, correct?
We have to apply every year. So the last time we applied was not last year, but the year before. So we are doing the application now. The state will give us an answer within 30 days. And normally what happens is we have to apply, we have to put all of our details about how we are tracking the time. And if they have a question on it, then they send it back and say, revise this part or that part, so that we will be able to start, right away within about 30 days. We'll apply, next week is the board meeting on the 11th, so we'll apply the 12th. We'll submit on the 12th. And so by September the 12th, we will get that. Usually with options, everybody starts coming in, and then we start putting them on flex day. So and then with everybody else, we'll apply, and if we have to work on the application, that's fine, because the elementary and junior high will be, starting, with their regular time, 7:45 to 3:15 or 8 to 4. And then we can start calculating out their absences and then bringing them in to recover that time.
Okay, so the parents are involved with this? Is there
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So,
Parents have to be informed, and we have to meet with them.
and do the students have to maybe sign some type of contract, or how does that work? And if they don't make up the hours, then what happens?
Well, the thing is, if they don't make up the hours, they've already been marked absent, so we're not getting ADA for them. But what happens is that if they do not make up the hours, then we really haven't gained anything nor lost anything. We're just not collecting ADA. But with the optional flexible school day program, say if a student has missed, several days this semester, we can make up that time during the spring and even into the summer. And we can recover up to half the time the student should be in school, as long as we don't double dip. We can't double dip, so if we're counting them for the day, that's your regular ADA. Then if they're on Saturdays, outside of school time, we can start calculating that time and recover days for ADA. For example, in 2018-19, when Options had this program in place, we had about 77 students that were in the program and about 55 graduated. We were able to recover 948 days of ADA.
Wow.
So that, I mean, every day helps them.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Roberts.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? It's a win-win, like Dr. Pettis said, it's a win-win for us as a
Yeah,
district.
because we're recovering learning and we're recovering attendance.
Yes.
So we win both ways.
The state does say they have to be with a certified teacher, so that also helps. And they have to be identified at risk. If they're not meeting one of the 14 at-risk criteria, then they would not be eligible for optional flexible school day. Okay. Next on our agenda, every year we need to bring before the board the approval of the use of innovative courses eligible for state elective credit. These are the courses that the state puts into place, but they can't count toward graduation requirements. They can count toward electives, but annually we bring these to the board, and you do have the list. I think that y'all have it in your board agenda items. These are mainly, most of them are CTE courses, but we do have the tech step program that some of our students participate in now. Students can get credit. It's an innovative course. With Capturing Kids' Hearts, we will be extending out and having the semester course called Lead Worthy. And that is also an innovative course, which really helps the students college transition. At Mission High School, we have Avid, we have Logic, Making Connections. We have certain math classes that we use to help our students. And of course, a lot of the Project Lead the Way courses for our T-STEM Academy at Mission High School. And we're really happy that we're bringing that barbering. I know we tried to do it last year, but most of our children were not in person. So this year, Mr. Sergio Pena is planning to bring up that barbering and another cosmetology class. All of these, of course, are what we call the innovative courses, and we just need to bring them before the board for approval to use them. Are there any questions on that? Thank you. Next on our agenda is the 21-22 School Health Advisory Council, SHAC. This is something that is under Ms. Martina Carrillo, our Health and PE Coordinator, and the School Health Advisory Council was established as required by the mandates in Senate Bill 19, Section 38.013 and 39.014, and Board Policy EHAA Legal. In 2005, SB 1357 amended Section 38.013 by adding to the duties of the SHAC the responsibility to recommend strategies for integrating school health services, counseling, and guidance services, a safe and healthy school environment, and school employee wellness into the school's health curriculum. Texas Education Code 28.002 and Board Policy BDF Legal require board approval of all new members of the SHAC. So effective September 1, 2009, SB 283 also requires the board to appoint a district parent as the chair and co-chair for the School Health Advisory Council. The SHAC has to meet 4 times a year. The board must approve all the members of the SHAC. So we are bringing forward the school health team along with the SHAC members in a systemic approach to advance student academic performance by promoting, practicing, and coordinating school health education and services for the benefit and well-being of students by establishing healthy behaviors designed to last their lifetime. The different departments involved, the coordinated school health team, child nutrition program, health services, risk management, counseling and mental health services, parent and community involvement, and physical education, health education. I believe in your packet, you also have the school health advisory dates. And we are planning on continuing these meetings virtually this year. And we have school health team meetings as well. So you should have that in your packet. And then the council members, school health advisory council members are listed. And then we do have some campuses that will need to send in names of representatives. Are there any questions on the SHAC? No? Okay. And Coach
No,
Carrillo is available in case there are questions. She oversees this. The The next item on the Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee agenda is the approval of out-of-state trips for special invitation, recognition, or national competition for CTE students. And as we move back into in-person instruction and into our students actually going and competing, Mr. Sergio Pena from our CTE department, our director, is moving forward this item to get pre-approval for students that are in DECA, BPA, HOSA, FBLA, Skills USA, FFA, Texas Association of Future Educators, and robotics. These clubs and organizations throughout the year will receive special invitation, be recognized, or compete in regional, state, national competition during the months of September through June. Advancement from state to national competition in some instances occurs very quickly with limited turnaround time for our CTE department to make the necessary travel arrangements for our students, since out-of-state travel requires board approval. So for several years, we've been bringing before the board the pre-approvals for CTE travel for out-of-state for competitions. Are there any questions on this?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is Ms. Risica will be bringing forward the purchase of a parental involvement program. Ms. Risica, our Executive Director for Special Programs and School Improvements.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Pettis, Superintendent. Tonight, I will be presenting information on the purchase of a parental involvement program. In the fall of 2016, the district applied for and received the 2017 High Quality Pre-Kindergarten Grant, which required the purchase and implementation of a family and community engagement program. To satisfy this component, the district contracted with Family Leadership, Inc. and began the implementation of parenting partners at all elementary campuses. Although this continues to be offered to our elementary parents, the curriculum and the resources have been updated and revised. The district would like to continue with the program using the revised curriculum and resources and have the appropriate staff receive the upgraded training. The district did solicit requests for proposals, and there were 2 responses. And based upon the evaluation process, the committee opted to continue or recommended to continue with the Parenting Partners Program. This will be paid for out of Title I, Part A, federal funds at a cost of $77,000. And just to kind of give you a little bit more information, I did send out a survey to all elementary campus principals to elicit their feedback. Because just like any program, we don't want to push something off on them that they don't feel like impacts their parents and their campus. And of the 14 elementaries, overwhelmingly, all of them wanted to continue with the program. It has been, in the initial phase, it was just our pre-K parents. Now it's been open to all parents at the elementary level. And we do have graduation ceremonies at the end of each one. So it has been very successful. So we will be asking for approval to purchase this parental involvement program through Family Leadership. And the program is Parenting Partners. Are there any questions?
This is from general fund or from your,
No, this is from Title I,
From
Part
Title
A
I.
federal. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Risica. We have, our next item is renewal contracts for reading intervention program and math intervention programs. Students in kinder through 8th grade use reading intervention and math intervention software to address gaps in education. In addition, students in 9th through 12th grades taking reading intervention or a math intervention course are in need of software programs to close instructional gaps. All students in kinder through 8th benefit from these intervention programs since they are personalized to meet individualized needs. All 9th through 12th grade students are provided access to the math intervention program, which includes SI, SAT, and ACT preparation. In August of 2019, the Board of Trustees awarded the bid to Achieve 3000 for the reading intervention program and Imagine Math for the math intervention program. Achieve 3000 and Imagine Math have 2 one-year renewals, and this is the second one-year renewal. So we are asking that the board renew for the third year, the use of Achieve 3000 and Imagine Math. This coming spring, in spring of 2022, we will have to go out for solicitation. At this time, the Achieve 3000 does cost $415,233, which is paid out of state funds, and Imagine Math screener and intervention costs $127,000, for a total of $542,233. Are there any questions on each?
Are these programs used throughout the whole district or only elementaries or who?
The Achieve 3000, in elementary, we have pre-K through second, it's part of Achieve 3000, but they use the Smarty Ants program. Third through eighth use Achieve 3000, and then we purchase certain licenses for our high school students to use in their intervention classes. And one of the things, I do have one of our literacy coaches that oversees the Achieve 3000, and she makes sure that we're also integrating, because it's a reading program, but it has a lot of passages for science and social studies, so we've made sure that we've integrated it into the curriculum for this coming school year. So if they're teaching Civil War, there's passages from Achieve 3000 that can be used, and our literacy coach made sure that everybody had access to that as we were creating and developing the curriculum. And Imagine Math is used all the way to 8th grade, but we also purchase license for those students that are in high school intervention.
Good. So we're not gonna go, we're gonna keep this as, since our math, it didn't do that well this year, we're just not going on something else, or?
Well, we're using it for intervention. We do have our math adoption. And so, the hesitancy in high school is, we could look forward to purchasing it. They do have access, in math for TSI, ACT, and SAT, all students.
Our little ones, our elementaries?
I'm sorry, elementary also uses Imagine Math.
So the accountability that we have on it, is it good? That's my question.
So that is something that we had 13,000 students that have accounts with Achieve 3000. And out of those, over 8,000 were consistently using it. As we were discussing that, I wanted to see gains, how much of the Lexile gains. Now, this past year was a little different because they were at home, but they were still logging in. And even with Imagine Math, our coordinators have competitions, and so they'll do Think 30, 30 lessons within so many days, because of course, the more students that are logging in and using the lessons because they're at their level, the more the gains are. And so,
basically the learning loss throughout the state, here in the Valley, in our district, it's not because of the curriculum programs. It's basically because of the attention span the children have, and the gap between virtual instruction and real life hands-on instruction, the monitoring and being able to interact with the teacher on a timely manner, teachers being able to provide corrective feedback as they observe the children doing the work in front of their eyes and so forth. So what the commissioner has, and we knew that it was going to be very different and that there was going to be learning loss, and now we have to catch up. And so that's why we received the funding, we're receiving some additional grants and additional support so that we can provide extended time and very targeted, systematic instruction, so that children will be able to accelerate their learning and we're able to close those gaps. So it wasn't necessarily the curriculum programs. It was just that barrier of virtual instruction. Now,
as long as we know that it's working, excuse me for,
yes,
it's working, but these are the discussions that we need to have and people can hear, that really, we need that in-person teaching, because it does really create a gap.
absolutely.
supplemental.
Yeah, these are
They're supplementals, but they help, especially when we were not
exactly.
in person and they were helping, they still helped a little bit more.
Actually,
We're paying so much money and we can have the accountability of making sure that we're working.
And these programs, when teachers are teaching, what these programs do is really reinforce it and teach it in a different way. so that students are able to apply in a variety of situations and objectives.
Okay, thank you.
We were looking at data today, I'm sure I have it here somewhere in all my papers, but we were looking at the data, the students that were using it, like Imagine Math, that did the 30 lessons like they needed to, they had like over 200 quantile points gained. So they, I mean, those that can use it consistently, we can see the data. And, so sometimes, yeah, there's pros and cons to using a software program. It's always better if the teacher's there so you can kind of spot check. And,
Yeah.
we know as teachers, if you're in a lab and things and you see a student that, needs a little assistance, you go ahead and help them then and there and teach what they need. It's a little bit different that, of course, that most of our children were at home. We were using it as one way to see if they were logging in daily. We were using both the Chief 3000 and Imagine Math to check attendance when we were doing asynchronous instruction. And so. Are there any-
Is there a PDF on it? I don't see a PDF on the agenda.
There should have been a PDF on the,
We didn't get the big packet.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gonzalez, you are absolutely correct. You're gonna have, the quotes. You do not have the executive summary. When I was going through the board agenda items, I noticed that it was left off, executive summary. So I can make sure that we can get that to you.
By
Yes,
next
it can
week.
be, yes, it's fine, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any other questions on the reading and math intervention programs?
No.
And these programs are for all students.
Yeah.
Not just students that are at risk. Our last item, the board this evening is the the purchase of the College Readiness and Success Program. For quite a few years, Mission CISD has had a college readiness program whereby we administer the PSAT to all 8th graders, the PSAT, NMSQT to 10th and 11th graders. Sometimes we hear of the National Merit Scholarships, and the only time a student can become a National Merit Scholar is 11th grade taking the PSAT. That's why they call it the PSAT/NMSQT. And so we administer the PSAT to 8th and 9th, the PSAT, NMSQT to 10th and 11th, and then we have been participating in the SAT School Day for a couple of years already, and so that is what we're bringing before the board this evening. We do get a break by bundling and paying for all of these together. So for our PSAT for 8th and 9th grade for about 1,129 8th graders, 1,175 10th graders, 1,130 11th graders, for the PSAT and 1130 11th graders for the SAT, we're looking at a cost of about $78,501. And this will be paid out of state funds. So we are asking for approval to proceed with the college readiness program through College Board. Are there any questions on that?
No, ma'am, we need.
Thank you. This does conclude our transforming teaching and learning part. I do want to ask that we have the public hearing, schedule the public hearing for the optional flexible school day for next week. And may I put the innovative courses, the school health advisory, out-of-state trips, and the purchases for the parental involvement, reading and math, and college readiness and success programs under consent for next week. I know that the finance will also bring them forward as purchases over 50.
Yes, you may.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Facilities and environment. Better?
Good evening, President Rogers, members of the board, Dr. Pettis, Superintendent of Schools, members of the audience. I will be presenting quite a few items. Many of these were the small items that we presented a few months ago where we utilized the on-call, professional on-call services to conduct assessments. The assessments have come in, and now we will be presenting consideration of the project itself and also utilizing, again, the on-call professional services to proceed with the projects. The first item I have is project and proposed budget for the child nutrition program walk-in freezers at Bryan, Salinas, and Marcel Elementary. The child nutrition program has a need to add 3 standalone walk-in freezers at the Bryan Elementary, Marcel Elementary, and Salinas Elementary near the campus cafeteria area. The 3 walk-in freezers are required to be placed, installed on concrete slabs, and electrical work is required for the connection. Administration used the on-call professional services agreement for this project, which was Chanine Structural Engineering, with an estimated project cost of $90,000. We have the funding source. We have the estimated project budget, we added project contingency, estimated professional services with a total project cost. Administration will be requesting consideration approval of the project and proposed budget at next week's regular Board of Trustees meeting. Next agenda item is utilizing the on-call professional services for this same child nutrition program walk-in freezers at Brian Salinas and Marcel Elementary project. This project is within the $500,000 threshold that the board approved to use the on-call services. And administration will be requesting the consideration and approval of utilizing the on-call professional services for Chanine Structural Engineering. Next project is project and proposed budget for the Child Nutrition Program Freezer Project. The Child Nutrition Project is to repair the existing refrigeration system that feeds the bulk storage freezer with a newer system that can possibly add additional capacity. Administration used the on-call professional services agreement for this project. BBR MEP Engineering conducted the assessment and they have a project cost of $100,000. We have a project contingency of 20%, estimated professional services, and estimated project cost. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of the project and proposed budget at next week's regular Board of Trustees meeting. For the same project, we will present utilizing the on-call professional services for the Child Nutrition Program Freezer Project. Again, this project is within the $500,000 threshold. And administration will be requesting consideration and approval of utilizing the on-call professional services for DBR MEP Engineering. Next is project and proposed budget for the demolition of the old agricultural science barns project. After reviewing the condition of the old agricultural science barn, the maintenance department and administration has deemed that they are both a structural and electrical hazard and that these structures are not safe for students, families, or animal projects. Administration, CNI, and the CTE department have discussed and have made the decision to have these structures removed in the best interest of safety. There was an assessment conducted by Chanine Structural Engineering with an estimated project cost of $50,000. And again, the funding source, contingency, professional services, estimated costs, and total project cost is included. Administration will be presenting and recommending consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the demolition of the agricultural science barns project at next week's regular Board of Trustees meeting.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, I might be out of place, but I'm still gonna ask it. It can be done in-house? It has to be by the services that we hire?
Yes, ma'am. Due to the size of the project and a demolition, and there's going to have to be some civil work that needs to be done, because once they tear it down, then they have to level it so there's proper drainage and it doesn't either pond or start draining towards the new facility. And we have all those things we
Yeah,
can take in.
with the city and the drainage and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted-
And also, we don't have that type of heavy equipment to use.
No, okay.
We'll also bring forward utilizing the on-call professional services for the demolition of the agricultural science barns project. Once again, this is within the $500,000 threshold, and administration will be recommending to use our on-call services, which is Chanine Structural Engineering. The next is project and proposed budget for the demolition of the Roosevelt Alternative Auditorium project. As this was presented in April 14th of 2021, a presentation from Hinojosa Structural Engineering on their visual structural condition assessment of the Roosevelt Auditorium building was presented. A report was submitted on or about November of 2020 and identified serious deficiencies in the roof and wall structural components, along with flooring and foundation deterioration. As per the assessment, and due to these deficiencies and failures, the building does not have adequate load supporting system and shows numerous signs of structural distress. And in their professional opinion, it is unsafe and should not be occupied until these deficiencies and failures are addressed. Two options were reported, of which option one is to consider demolition of the entire structure, removal of debris, and leveling of the site at an estimated cost of $175,000. Option two would be to consider making needed repairs to correct these deficiencies and failures to include roof replacement, ceiling, floor, electrical, plumbing, AC, restroom, seating, and rehabilitation of foundation and walls at an estimated cost of $1.5 million. Administration used, again, on-call professional services from Chinese Structural Engineering for the demolition of Roosevelt Auditorium at an estimated cost of $175,000. Administration will recommend consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the demolition of Roosevelt Alternative Auditorium project. We will also need to advise the historical, National Register for Historical Buildings, because it is registered as a historical building. So we will need just to notify them, not necessarily their approval, because we have the report.
And legal counsel has already explored all of that and has made all those.
Yes, that is correct, Mr.
Rivera, can we discuss this before as to,
Oh, yes.
are we gonna put the bill as this district or is
Well, as
it going to help us or what happened?
actually, remember that we did talk during committee meeting that it would cost 1.5 million or even more. Now, with the pandemic, probably it has tripled. But the fact of the matter is, we really don't have use for it because we don't have parking space in that area. As it is, our staff parks by the side of the street. So really, we really couldn't have events. And the small grants that are available out there to restore something that's historical, it's for it to become a community building or a community center. But those grants are very, very small grants. So
They're not enough.
district, we really
Yeah, I
don't.
think we had discussed already the best option was to just get it
Get it out.
demolished.
Are we still gonna have the 175,000?
That's our district because of the fact that, we don't want it to become a hazard and a safety issue. Therefore, we need to take care of it now.
It's a liability right now is the way it's sitting.
Yeah, I know, and I just wanted to see if we had done anything with the city. And I have another one here. I see that you are for transparency here, that we're only using the professional service. Do we have other people that can do this? Are we only one particular?
We have several on call.
There's several, in order to expedite the projects, we're recommending the on-call, because it is under the $500,000 threshold, and they did do the assessment, so that's why we're recommending the firm that did the assessment also to do the design.
The other firms were given the same,
Well, they were given the same opportunity when they submitted for the RFQs for.
I just want to make clear that, we are transparent as to.
Absolutely,
Same way.
absolutely.
Yes. There will be some projects right now where
It will change.
yes.
But, it was like, what goes on, so.
We know where you're coming from, Petra.
Exactly, so, it's like, why is it?
Thank you.
It's good to have transparency within our board, so we'll know.
Absolutely.
People that are listening will get it straight and not start making conclusions that we're not.
Yes, that's why we present all construction projects for transparency.
I wanted to make clear that we are on board. Thank you.
The next item is utilizing the on-call professional services for the demolition of the Roosevelt Alternative Auditorium project. Administration will be recommending consideration approval of utilizing the on-call professional services for the demolition of the Roosevelt Alternative Auditorium project, which would be Chinese Structural Engineering. Next item is project and proposed budget for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Mission High School. The CTE program and Mission High School are establishing a culinary arts lab at Mission High School similar to one currently at Veterans Memorial High School. Due to the size of the project, the fire code requirements for fire suppression systems due to cooking equipment, millwork, electrical and plumbing requirements, design, engineering, professional service will be required. An assessment was done utilizing the on-call professional services agreement with PBK Architects. The estimated project cost is $250,000. We have here the estimated project cost, estimated contingency, estimated professional services fee, and estimated total project cost. And it does fall within the threshold. Administration will be requesting consideration approval of the project and proposed budget for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Mission High School. We will, on utilizing the on-call professional services for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Mission High School, administration use PBK Architects, and administration will be requesting consideration approval of utilizing the on-call professional services for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Mission High School using PBK Architects. Next item is a project and proposed budget for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Veterans Memorial High School. The CTE program and Veterans Memorial High School currently have a culinary arts lab. As per a field inspection at Veterans Memorial High School, the culinary lab is requiring possible renovations to be in code compliance. Areas of note are the current vent hood suppression systems. An assessment was conducted by BBK Architects with an estimated project cost of $10,000. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Veterans Memorial High School. For the same project, we will be presenting utilizing the on-call professional services for the Culinary Arts at Veterans Memorial High School. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of utilizing the on-call professional services for the Culinary Arts Laboratory at Veterans High School of PBK Architects. Next item is project and proposed budget for the Waits Elementary Sidewalks Project. Waits Elementary requires sidewalks for the special needs programs from the main building to the playground area. Currently, there are no walkways and thus not being safe and in non-compliance. We use the on-call professional services agreement with Javier Hinojosa Civil Engineering, and this has an estimated project cost of $6,341. We have the estimated estimated contingency, professional services, estimated cost, and project cost of $8,370. Administration will be requesting consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the Waits Elementary Sidewalks Project. We will be presenting utilizing the on-call professional services for this project, and administration will be requesting consideration approval of using Mr. Javier Hinojosa Civil Engineering for this project. We have project and proposed budget for the Farmers Project. The Mission CISD CTE program is establishing a citrus horticulture laboratory program at the 18 acres of Citrus Grove. Immediate plans are to demo an area of groves to bring in portable building classroom. Utilities to include streets, water, fire protection, drainage, electrical, and sewer needs to be engineered. Administration used the on-call professional services agreement with Javier Hinojosa Civil Engineering to assess this project. Estimated cost is $536,101. Again, this is to bring in all the utilities, and this is his projected cost, the estimated project contingency, estimated professional services, and the estimated total project cost is $707,653.32. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of the project and proposed budget for this farmer's project.
This infrastructure foundation for when we build the new bus barn, right?
Yes, ma'am. This is be the infrastructure for the entire 18 acres.
It's not only for the two portables.
That is correct. It's for the entire 18 acres and for future growth. You are correct.
We'll have to bring in the water system or
There's water system, all the utilities, water, sewer, Monday,
everything has to be built.
everything has to be there available. Yes,
And that's what the project is.
yes.
Fire hydrants and everything else.
We also have a presentation on the selection for professional services for the Farmers Project. This project does not fall within the $500,000 threshold to use the on-call professional services. If MCISD is to proceed with this project, the Board of Trustees must take the following action in accordance with Education Code 44.035. Select or designate an engineer or architect to prepare construction documents for the project. The engineer or architect selected or designated will have full responsibility for complying with the Texas Engineering Practice Act, Article 3271A, Vernon's Texas Civil Statutes, or Chapter 478, Acts of the 45th Legislature, regular session 1937, Article 249A, Vernon's, Texas Civil Statutes as applicable. If the engineer or architect is not a full-time employee of the district, the board must select the engineer or architect on the basis of demonstrated competence and qualifications as provided by section 2254.004 of the government code. Due to the estimated cost being over the $500,000 threshold for on-call services, administration requests discussion and possible action on the selection for professional services for the Farmers Project. The board may direct administration to advertise for requests for qualifications, RFQs, or select an architect engineer used in the past or present based on demonstrated competence and qualifications. Administration will recommend civil engineering services. Administration will be requesting discussion and possible action on the selection for professional services for the Farmers Project. We have project and proposed budget for the field events for middle schools. The athletic department and administration is requesting track and field, long jump, and triple jump runways at all 4 of our middle schools. These runways will benefit our junior high athletes the opportunity for very much needed practice runs. When traveling to our high schools for practice to utilize those runways, it significantly limits both our high school and junior high jumpers' practice run-throughs. Civil engineering will be required for this project. Depending on the recommended locations, additional civil engineering service may be required for drainage purposes. Administration used the on-call professional services agreement for this assessment, which was Javier Hinojosa Civil Engineering, and the estimated cost is $269,168. With the contingencies and estimated professional services fee, it's an estimated project of $355,301.76. Administration will recommend consideration and approve of the project and proposed budget for the field events for the middle schools. For this same project, the administration will recommend utilizing the on-call professional services for these field events. This falls within the $500,000 professional services threshold limit. Administration will recommend consideration and approval of utilizing the on-call professional services of Javier Hinojosa Civil Engineering. We have the project and proposed budget for the construction of additional animal pens for the Agricultural Science Barns project. Due to the increasing number of animal science projects for both Mission High School and Venice Memorial High School, the CT department is requesting to increase the number of animal pens at the current facility. An assessment was conducted by PBK Architects. The estimated project cost is $50,000 with a contingency and estimated professional services fees, an estimated $66,000. Administration will present consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the construction of the animal pens for the Agricultural Science Barns project.
Mr. Rivera,
Mande.
excuse me.
Excuse me.
How many pens do we have right now and how many do we need?
Mr. Peña,
I don't have that information. Mr. Peña, I believe, was on the,
It's online, no? His name is there. Sergio Peña?
Sergio Peña. He may have that information. Mr. Peña, are you with us?
Yes, we have actually 50 pens on each side, and we want to add 12 pens on each side, and then we're looking at the lamb and goat pens only.
Uh,
How many altogether?
There's 100, but that includes steer, hogs, lambs, and goat pens. What we want to expand on are the lamb and goat pens, which are the most numerous that we have, and we want to add 12 pens on each side, the Mission High School side and the veteran side. Total of 24.
Mr. Peña, can you repeat the first part? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
No, that we have a total of 100 pens, 50 on each side for each high school. And again, the pens include the hog pens, the lamb and goat, and the steer pens. And what we are proposing or requesting to add are 12 additional pens for the lamb and goats on each side for a total of 24.
Thank you, Mr. Peña.
You're welcome.
Will that clear up, Mr. Peña, will that clear up some of the pens that are being, have more steers in there? Or it's just that we're going lambs, pens for the lambs and the goats?
Yeah, we're going to slightly reduce the size of the lamb and goat pens. And we can add the additional 12 pens on each side. And again, there will be more than enough room for the lamb and goats to be housed safely, and it will not impact them at all.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Peña. Administration will present consideration, approval, project and proposed budget for the construction of additional animal pens for the agricultural science barns project. Administration will also present utilizing the on-call professional services for this same project, utilizing the on-call professional services of PPK Architects. Next item is the removal of the technology radio tower structural assessment. In December of 2016, Chanine Structural Engineering was contracted to conduct a structural assessment at the technology radio tower located behind CMP. Findings showed tower rust and deteriorations, and a report with photographs was provided. The report showed that the tower had excessive rust, and his recommendation was to bring it down. However, at that time, there was a firm that the district contracted to do the maintenance. However, that firm went into bankruptcy, and the district is once again liable for that tower. We asked for Chanine Structural Engineering to conduct another assessment, which is 5 years later. And upon meeting with Mr. Chanine, he advised us that conducting another structural assessment would be a moot service since nothing had changed since the original assessment of 2016, and possibly the structure only deteriorated more. He advised that his original report recommendations were still valid. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of the removal of the technology radio tower structural assessment project.
It is not used anymore?
According to what we know from the business office, is the district is not receiving any proceeds from that tower. I believe Ms. Ruiz.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Madam Superintendent. We do have some agreements in place, and we do receive some monies. However, we do not have any vendors that may have equipment on the tower.
So how much do we get for,
We do have a 30-year agreement with Sprint Excel, and every year this amount changes, so we receive about 123,000 from Sprint per year over a 30-year period. And we used to have other tenants in there. However, one of them was Iglesia Pentecostal. However, they were notified by the FCC that their radio station was interfering with a radio station from Mexico. So they had to cancel that agreement. And the other vendor we had was Clear Channel, and we did have an agreement with them, and they were also paying us a monthly amount. However, they filed for bankruptcy, and that's the vendor that Mr. Rivera was alluding to. In the agreement that was drafted with that particular vendor, they were responsible for the maintenance of the tower. And so once they filed for bankruptcy, they were not able to fulfill that commitment. And Mr. Munoz, our legal counsel, has been assisting me throughout all these years with those agreements.
so the tower belongs to the district?
Yes, it does. It belongs.
Okay.
It came with that property with the child nutrition program, the central kitchen. It came with that property when it was acquired by the school district.
But it's endangering the central kitchen building in case it was to fall or anywhere, whatever side it goes to.
If it does, and God forbid it falls towards the north, it will even cross 495.
Okay, so, and, you know.
Towers are made so they can crumble in, so the way the guide towers.
It depends on when the tower is.
Currently, the light bulb on top is not functioning, so we did contact the vendor to go change that light bulb, and it happened to be the same vendor that assisted Mr. Chanin on the assessment. And he stated, if you haven't done anything in 5 years, we will not climb that tower and change the bulb.
Yeah, and it's in violation of FFA already.
Exactly, yes.
Exactly, so why do we want it if it's not even worth fixing and we're not even getting enough money to fix it, so just,
Let's just bring it down.
thank you.
We will also present utilizing the on-call professional services for the removal of the tower, which would be Chanin Structural Engineering. Next is project and proposed budget for playground equipment for elementary campuses. Mission CISD is proposing to purchase and install school playground equipment for district-wide elementary campuses with the exception of Midkiff, Escobar Rios, and Cavazos Elementary Schools. These 3 campuses have the most recent installations and continue to be in good condition. The remaining 11 elementary campuses have equipment that is no longer usable due to weather deterioration or need replacement due to age. New playground equipment is a necessary activity for young students and is used for teaching and learning activities. Administration will present consideration approval of the project and proposed budget, which is an estimated $792,000, which includes a project budget, contingency, and professional services. This budget was established from information of the previous playground equipments that we installed and the quotes.
And the funding source would be ESSER funding.
Awesome, I love it.
Mr. Rivera,
Monday.
what happens to the old equipment? What do y'all do with the old equipment?
They don't have it.
Well, on the previous projects, they didn't have any. So that was, there was no equipment to dispose of. Now on these current ones, we would need to dispose of them somehow. They're old and we would not want to sell them to someone and then, you know, they not be in good working condition and someone get hurt.
Okay.
But we can conduct an assessment also on those that we remove.
Okay, I just thought that if they were in pretty fair condition, maybe some type of donation. But if they're not in good condition, then yeah, it would be best to do away with them.
Yes, but we'll look into that as we go through the project. Yes.
Some of them already rounded, they have a yellow thing around them, so the kids won't get close to them anymore.
That is correct.
They're all broken and cracked and, you know, they're very old.
They're extremely old, extremely old. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of this project at the next Board of Trustees meeting. We will also be presenting selection for professional services for the playground equipment. Once again, this exceeds the $500,000 threshold. If MCISD is to proceed with this project, the Board of Trustees must take the following action with accordance with Education Code 44.035. It's the same as the other project, so I won't read through the entire thing. But due to the estimated cost, the board may direct administration to advertise for requests for qualifications or select an architect, engineer used in the past or present based on demonstrated competence and qualifications. Administration would recommend a structural engineer based on past playground equipment projects. This is project and proposed budget for synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields at Veterans Memorial High School and Mission High School. Mission CISD is proposing the installation of synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields at both high schools. The installation of synthetic turf will provide a continuous level playing field that will provide safety by possibly eliminating bad hops and limiting possible player injuries. The turf will also be a cost savings due to weekly and annual maintenance costs of watering, fertilizing, herbicides, painting, mowing, top dressing, etc., not having to be done. As per information concerning synthetic turf areas, the area covering a baseball field is of equal or slightly more square footage of that than a football field. Administration is using an estimated cost from previous turf quotes and most recent information that we have gathered. Administration will present consideration and approval of the project and proposed budget for these turfs at an total estimated cost of $4,224,000. Administration, again, will be requesting consideration and approval of this project at next week's regular Board of Trustees meeting.
Money will be from,
from ESSER funding.
ESSER funding?
Yes. And that budget was presented to the board in June.
That's great. We don't have to fix it.
We will also present selection for professional services for the synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields. Once again, if MCISD is to proceed with this project, the Board of Trustees must take the following action in accordance with Education Code 44.035. Once again, with the estimated cost being over $500,000, we cannot use the on-call services. We will ask the board to direct administration whether to advertise for request for qualifications or select an architect engineer used in past or present based on demonstrated competence and qualifications. Civil engineering and professional services were used for the installation of synthetic turf in 2014 when we did the football stadiums, both at Mission High School and Veterans Memorial High School. We have project and proposed budget for the Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion Project. Mission Collegiate High School was constructed in 2015. Mission Collegiate High School was not funded for either an interior or exterior gymnasium or pavilion. The dining area was a designated area for physical activity for students. Administration and Mission Collegiate High School is requesting a pavilion for the physical education program. Physical education is an integral part of the total educational program. It is that phase of education which provides an opportunity through activity for physical, mental, social development, and improvement of the individual to meet the challenge of life. As per information received on similar sized pavilion projects, this budget was established, which is $1 million for the project. Once we add the contingency estimated professional services fees, we have an estimated project of $1,320,000. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of the project and proposed budget for the Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion Project.
And that would be from ESSER funds as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
For this project, we will present selection for professional services for the Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion Project. Once again, if Mission CISD is to proceed with this project, the Board of Trustees must take the following action in accordance with Education Code 44.035. This project, again, does not meet the $500,000 threshold for on-call services. The board may direct administration to advertise for request for qualifications or select an architect engineer using the past or present based on demonstrated competence and qualifications. Administration will recommend architectural design services for this project. We have project and proposed budget for the indoor air quality project. Mission CISD prioritizes the safety and health of its students, staff, and community, and ensures that all safety and health measures are addressed as a priority to include air quality. School indoor air quality is particularly important as it may affect the health, performance, and comfort of school staff and students. The MCISD 5-year improvement plan consists of facilities improvements district-wide that includes improvements for drainage, roof replacements, lighting improvements, and replacements of HVAC systems. The plan shows that due to campus's age, certain items need to be assessed, such as air handlers, blowers, and control systems. Administration is recommending the implementation of replacements and repairs to district-wide HVAC systems utilizing the 5-year plan. Administration presents consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the indoor air quality project with a total estimated project of $38,280,000. Administration will be requesting consideration and approval of this project.
Mr. Rivera, what
ma'am.
equipment are we looking at, or what are we requesting? For this indoor air quality?
Replacement of air handlers, total air systems, control systems, everything that encompasses the air conditioning systems, whatever we might need. There are some campuses, excuse me?
Yeah, the campus, all campuses.
There are some campuses that may not need an air handler, but they need new controls. That way we can control the humidity in the air that's coming into the building. So some campuses may just need controls, others may need new air handlers due to the age of the systems. HVAC systems usually have a useful life of 15 and at the longest 20 years. And we do have some campuses that old that the units have never been replaced.
and who has these products? I mean, do we have people here that locally that have these, that carry these products?
This will have to be, again, designed and engineered. We will have to go for competitive seal proposals. I will advise the board that not only with HVAC products, but all kinds of building materials, there is a waiting time, and especially HVAC, because with these ESSER funds, almost every district in the state is doing air quality projects. So the sooner we get started, the sooner we can get in line with general contractors and suppliers of the equipment.
Okay, but we do have suppliers here locally that could supply. And the reason I'm asking is because school is, what, 2 weeks away? Maybe even less than that? I know we won't have them by then, but I'm.
Oh, no.
No.
And I understand that, but that's why I'm asking, do we have vendors here locally that carry those handlers and those products that you're mentioning?
No, ma'am. Usually we do have local vendors, but the suppliers are usually, are not in the valley. And here we're looking at a multi-year project. And then we have to coordinate with the campuses on possible shutdowns and when we can do these. So there's going to have to be a lot of coordination between the district and the contractors. And once again, this is a multi-year project.
Okay, just to make sure that we are familiar with the brands, and that we make sure that you have an idea on these brands and not just go, like you're saying, there's a lot of people that are offering, a lot of vendors that are offering, but we want to make sure on what type of brand they're offering, and is it the best brand for our district?
Yes, ma'am. That's why we'll hire a competent MEP engineer to conduct all these assessments and have all the recommendations for the products that we're going to use.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. Administration will be presenting this proposed budget at next week's regular Board of Trustees meeting. Again, because of the cost of this project, the selection for professional services, we will request for the board to direct administration to advertise for RFQs or select an architect engineer using past or present based on demonstrated competence and qualifications.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
now, I know a lot of companies are getting on the bandwagon because of COVID, the pandemic, the schools, the filtering systems, all through the HVAC. Is this all, will this all be open to all of them? Or I know you mentioned about being very particular with whoever we are getting as far as the vendor. I understand what what Betty is saying as far as vendors getting on. I know, that's going to be a main concern of everyone right now is the filtering of our schools, the air quality, so this is going to be all included in all of that, correct? Or
That's why we will rely on our MEP engineer to conduct all these assessments. And they're the ones that can tell us exactly what we're going to need. However, as Dr. Perez has mentioned before in all of her presentations, the district is doing everything we possibly can to ensure that we have awesome air quality. Our HVAC units are turned on a few hours before school starts. That way the air can start circulating. The air systems are left on even a few hours after students leave into the evening, again, to recirculate all the new air. And also, there is an agenda item, I believe, by the finance of approving some air purifier units for all the classrooms in the district.
okay.
On the next few projects, we will have Mr. Adrian Hernandez, our Project and Energy Coordinator, present these because he's the one that's been working on these projects along with our engineers and architects. I introduce Mr. Adrian Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Dono. Good evening, President Rogers, members of the board, Dr. Perez, Superintendent of Schools, and members of the audience. Our first project up would be our Lee Fieldhouse roof project. In discussions on administration rankings and entering into negotiations in order of ranking for Lee Fieldhouse roofing project. Administrative considerations. Advertisements in the local newspaper were posted May 19th, 2021 and May 2021. Proposal meeting was held on Thursday, May 27th. Proposals publicly and remotely scheduled to be open June 3rd at 2 o'clock. There were no proposals submitted. Administration extended solicitations for an additional 2 weeks. Second pre-proposal meeting was held Thursday, June 17th, 2021, and proposals were open on Thursday, June 24th at 2 p.m. Pre-ranking of the proposals were conducted by Ms. Dora Garcia, Mr. Joel Garcia, myself, Adrian Hernandez, and Ms. Daisy Cuevas on Wednesday, July 21st at 8:30 a.m. 2 proposals were submitted for this project. Number 1 was Mr. Rio Roofing and Rain Seal. Rio Roofing came in at 98 points. Rain Seal came in at 60 points. Recommendation, administration will recommend consideration and approval to accept administration's rankings and enter into negotiations in order of ranking of the Lee Fieldhouse roofing project at the board meeting. Any questions? Our first item for ongoing projects currently is change order number 1 for 28 days delay days on Child Nutrition Program CMP project. Administrative consideration, DBR and Johnson Controls are requesting time extension on the project due to factory delays of chiller delivery. Thus, we present consideration and approval of change order number 1 for 28 days, delay days, for Child Nutrition Program project. If the new substantial completion is approved, new completion will be August 11, 2021. Recommendation, administration will recommend consideration and approval of change order number 1 for 28 delay days for the Child Nutrition Program project. Our next item, change order number 1 for 35 delay day projects for Central Office Chiller Replacement Project. Administrative consideration, DBR and Johnson Controls are requesting time extension on the project due to factory delay of chiller delivery. Thus, we present consideration and approval of change order number 1 for 35 delay days for the Central Office Chiller Replacement Project. If approved, the new substantial completion will be August 18th, 2021. Recommendation, administration will recommend consideration and approval of change order number 1 for 35 delay days for the Central Office Chiller Replacement Project. Ongoing projects. Tom Landry Stadium repairs, status report. Notice to proceed was issued July 28th with a substantial completion of February the 3rd. Contractual days, calendar days, 210 days. Currently, this project, the fencing has already come up. Contractor has already put boots to the ground. They're currently coordinating with other subs. Pretty much, it's an ongoing. It's really on their hands at this point. But that contract was $1,24850. Our professionals on staff is Inno House Engineering, and NMN Contracting is the contractor for this current project. District-wide security visuals. You have the Alton Memorial Junior High, K White Junior High, Pearson Elementary, and Roosevelt Alternative Project. Notice to proceed has been issued July 27th with a substantial completion date of September the 25th, 60 calendar days. Currently, submittals have been submitted and they're in approval. Mr. Vela is the architect on file, along with the contractor, Refco. And those currently, like I said, those will probably be pre-manufactured and most, as per Mr. Vela and as per contractor, they expect to have no more than 3-4 days on site, pre-manufactured come in and install as per their discussion. Structural maintenance warehouse project. This project notice to proceed has been issued as well, July 26th. Substantial completion, December 3rd, 2021, 130 calendar days. PBK, Mr. David Iglesias is our architect on record, and NN Contracting is the contractor on record as well. And once again, this one, they have already established fencing. It has just been kicked off currently, and they're actually coordinating with their subcontractors to go ahead and bring in equipment and whatnot. Installation of touchless water fountains district-wide. As of today, 129 out of the 193 fountains have been installed, remaining with a volume of 59 currently. We are scheduled to go ahead and complete by the 13th of August, if all goes well and progress continues with this project. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to add that these touchless water fountains, we have two types, some that, as the children near, they'll be able to drink water from the water fountain, and then we have others that are also touchless, where the children and staff will be able to utilize a bottle and fill the water bottles. And we are purchasing bottled waters for all of our students. And those empty receptacles. Good.
How many?
Who's doing the work?
How many did you say that we were lacking?
59, ma'am.
9, and you're not sure if we will receive them? Is that a definite yes, on the 13th, or?
No. We have the water fountains. They are being installed, and they will be installed, ready to go day one.
Are we doing it in-house or are we outsourcing the installation?
In-house.
We are doing it in-house. We did look at outsourcing. Mr. Joel Garcia, would you like to add any information on that?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Sir, just to answer your question, the maintenance team is doing a great job.
I don't think they can hear you.
Good evening, everyone. Just to kind of recap what Adrian said, the team has installed about 129 touchless water fountains out of the 192. The team is installing about an average of about 10 fountains a day. So we're estimated to complete the fountain installation, and it's being done in-house by our maintenance team, our plumbing team. We're scheduled to finish by next Friday, August 13th. Just enough time before school starts. Now, we did look at outsourcing options, but when we did, a lot of the companies did not have any availability right now. So we did explore that as well, because we know the urgency is to get these in and installed by the first day of school.
Was there any engineering requirement for the installation?
That is correct. Yes, DBR Engineer is the engineer on record for this project. They went ahead and did an inspection on several campuses that have already been. And if you like, Mr. Ugo, and he can go ahead and pretty much attest to this. They were fine. They were actually found to be operable. And he gave his thumbs up. Pretty much that's what's been done in-house and going forward.
Great. Make sure we get it in writing, not just thumbs up, because,
There is a list that we provided. I can go ahead and forward it.
That's fine.
Yes. However, we do have a backup plan.
Yes, sir.
And we do have water and to make sure that we had water in stock for a couple of weeks in case that we're not able to finish all the installation.
But we're on track to finish, right?
Absolutely, and if for some reason we don't, we have plenty of water for our children and staff.
thank you for taking the initiative by doing it with in-house. Because I think that, at least we didn't have to wait and, you took the bull by the horn and ran with it. Thank you.
It's a team effort.
I know.
The team next project, installation of canopies and sidewalks at Mission High School, special education 18+ program. Notice of procedure was issued back on April 22nd with a substantial completion October the 19th. PBK is our architectural firm on record, and GNG is the contractor. Currently, the project is ongoing. Now, we were, I guess, advised, PBK was advised by the contractor that they might have delays as well due to market conditions and lack of material. Their first response was it was probably going to go into next year. PBK is currently looking at other alternatives to see what is best for the district and see if we can go ahead and minimize that time frame. So, we're beyond that with PBK, and hopefully they can provide something. Installation of Vance Elementary Marquee, notice to proceed was given back in May 26th. ETA, the production of the marquee itself, they're estimating that it would be September 1st, 2021. Our engineer on record is Mr. Javier Rosas. As of now, the project continues. The electrical work is going to be done in-house as well. And pretty much as soon, we want to be prepared as soon as that marquee actually arrives, put it up and get it working. Okay, any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
The last agenda item we have is approval to dispose of surplus printed instructional materials. In accordance with board policy, the board may dispose of printed instructional material before the date of the instructional material is discontinued for use in the public schools by the State Board of Education. If the board determines that the instructional material is not needed by the district and the board does not reasonably expect that the instructional material will be needed, updated printed instructional materials are provided by the publishers every year. Previous year material is out of date and will not be used with the new consumables provided by the publisher. The new consumables are included as per adoption agreements with vendors. Administration will recommend approval to dispose of surplus printed instructional materials. That concludes the Environment Committee. If I may, on these construction projects that we did utilize the on-call professional services and recommending the professional services because they're under the threshold for the projects that we can propose on consent.
Good idea, definitely.
Okay, for those projects that are above the $500,000 threshold and will require board action on the selection of architect or engineer, those we will be bringing forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Support Services, we have Ms. Lorena Garcia.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Madam Superintendent. Today I have two presentations. The very first one will be a quick one. The first presentation is regarding House Bill 547, homeschool participants in UIL activities. And this is a new law passed by Texas legislature. We're providing an update to the Board of Trustees. The homeschool participants House Bill was passed by the Texas legislature to let homeschool students to participate in public school extracurricular activities. Under this provision, currently UIL, the rules allow the current rules before the House bill was approved, of course, it hasn't completely gone into effect. Districts could allow homeschool students to compete, but only if they were enrolled for at least 4 hours of instruction per day, which technically that meant that they were actually enrolled from the school. So, House bill waives that requirement now to be so that is in public schools will not receive additional funding because students are not enrolled in the public school. And these activities are funded by local funds. So this House bill takes into effect September 1. However, there was a deadline for the decision to varsity participation, which was August 1st, 2021. Each school district gets to decide whether to opt in, to allow or not allow homeschool students to participate. However, since the August 1st deadline has already passed in terms of varsity participation, the district did not opt in. So, to do that next year. So schools will be opting out August 1st. However, that decision will only be for non-varsity participation. So those students would still be eligible for academics and music, varsity athletic activities for that school year. And the consensus of school districts. Consensus of public school districts is to not opt in because of as I mentioned before, the funding is for the public school enrolled students, and the homeschool students are not enrolled, so they're not earning ADA for the school district. And then there's some other questions regarding eligibility. For example, homeschools, they do have to meet the eligibility guidelines. However, in terms of academics, we have to comply with the no pass, no play rule. But in a homeschooler, their parent is the person that is responsible for the overall of their academic standards, and they have to issue them a test. So in order to participate, during the first 6 months of the year, they have to pass a proficiency test, nationally recognized performance assessment. And so what the concern is with some groups is that the students that are enrolled in public school are having to meet the academic standards, and it's different for the non-enrolled students also. So in essence, you could technically have applicants that is maybe not performing well, and they unenroll and go into homeschool, and now they can participate. So
Right.
that's where that discussion is. So homeschool students are required to complete the PAEF, which is the previous athletic participation form, and they are subject to those eligibility rules. Non-enrolled student may only participate in a league activity or the school knows their zone has to do with their residential address. So in terms of our athletic department and our athletic staff, the recommendation is that non-opt-in. So we wanted to provide that update to the board and see if y'all had any questions or discussion related to that matter.
Ms. Garcia, do you have an idea how many students we're talking about?
We do, ma'am. However, because of COVID, we do hear a lot more families that are now looking at possibility of homeschooling their children. Since the state legislature did not fund virtual learning because of the pandemic, we will probably see a greater number of homeschoolers. But at this time, we do not have an idea of what those numbers would be, or if any of those kids would be interested in participating in these activities or not.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't make any sense if they were homeschooled, but yet wanted to participate in YL activities or athletic activities. Well, they'll be with other people anyway, so they don't jive at all.
Does that make sense?
But it's not because of COVID that this will pass, or?
No.
So maybe it's a good way of recruiting kids. Think about it. I mean, they get involved in athletics and they might just want to join our district. I think maybe that's something to think about as well.
And I don't know of any requests that come our way in the last few years, so we have not received any requests.
Okay, because the argument was also that the money's not there, but they're in your district, they're paying taxes. So can you answer that?
Yes. But we really haven't had any requests.
Okay.
That's good.
Now, if that changes, then we'll bring it back.
Sure, we'll bring this.
There have been issues with that back when, yes.
Thanks, Coach.
And the next presentation is our SS3 update, and I'd like to also acknowledge Ms. Kim Ringa, as she did assist me preparing this PowerPoint. We will be providing a status update on that night. So on the funding recap, Ms. Rizzo was able to successfully submit the application. It was submitted on July 25th, 2021 for the initial church allocation. And as previously presented in prior board meetings and workshops, these are the breakdown of the two-church allocation. Now, we were looking at tutors, teachers, interventions, at-risk counselors of support, LCC, social workers, custodian, and of course, our retention stipends. We also have $660,000 for contract services, supplies, and other costs. It's a very small amount on the travel costs, not that we haven't planned. However, in these applications, you all have to submit a placeholder. It's always good to submit a placeholder for certain comes to case. And then, of course, we have the 660 and administrative costs, indirect costs. The district will be submitting an amendment for the grant application for the remaining one part allocation, which is an additional $18,948,890. This amount is going to be used to cover the remaining costs, the balance of the items that I mentioned before. Of course, the recommendation came as a result of seeking input from various stakeholders, public forums, surveys, presentations, virtual and in person, group meetings. We were able to share information and gather from students and parents, district and campus administrators, teachers, auxiliary staff, EIC members, realtors, community teachers, to name a few. The district has asked to use a large portion of necessary funding to maintain the continuity of services for instructional staff salaries. This will allow the use general fund to cover the costs of the construction projects that we mentioned before, such as the AACC, indoor air quality, the playgrounds, the baseball, softball field improvements, and the high chart upgrades, buses, and the musician Cleveland High School pavilion. So we will make listening means that we're going to be walking. Yes, that's that, for example, the ADA systems. We're hoping that we're able to finish that project in 3 years. But if we don't, then we would be leaving money on the table. However, it is perfectly legal to instead, from extra funding, pay staff salaries, and then utilize our local funds to purchase the AAC systems like playground equipment that are policy space. That is correct. And that is an allowable procedure that was published by CTA and a lot of those districts is where they're going. Not only does it extend the life of the fund beyond grant deadline, but also expedite, the expenditure because the procurement, federal procurement guidelines are very different from what we're used to, which is the state and the local guidelines. So it also expedites that process. So we will continue to provide the board and the community with updates as we progress on all of those projects. We also have everything available on our district website page, and you go to the home page and there's a link there to GSS information. And now I'm going to cover the safety aspect. As you all we have submitted a financial plan as well as the turning in-person safe time. And I've taken a lot of the points in my mind and addressed them in my PowerPoint. We've shared it with campus principals during their leadership, and we are sharing it with their campus staff as well as their parents. So the first question that everybody has in mind is, will there be virtual learning? And as you know, there was on the table 1468, not by the legislature. So this provided funding to be able to fund for learning in Texas, and that did not get approved. So school districts are having to go 100% space-based instruction, or you use other methods such as local tax dollars to buy, in some cases, a minimum amount of virtual learning. Like, for example, you'll have some districts that are saying 200 students allotment for virtual learning. Now districts our size, 14,000 students, how do you allocate 200 spots? And they may not see reimbursement from the state for that program. You're talking about $2 million students in loss of state funding. So the students will be receiving 100% real-time instruction. They will follow the regular schedule. Another thing that we're hearing in our plan is that the first line of defense does get home. And of course, I talk about personal responsibility work. We're recommending that parents screen the students for fever or COVID-19 symptoms before going to school. If they are showing symptoms, asking them to stay home. And then if they go to doctors, this work is also like our staff. Teachers are going to monitor the students and reserve them to nurses to see that they have any symptoms present. Campus staff will also provide questionnaires that will be sent to parents. They can fill out. They'll be created by the nursing department or our health services, and our nurses will collect that information digitally. They share the COVID-19 state protocols with parents who got that communication. And the campus can also do other types of trainings. These are our white pager, our infographic on our commitments and sharing a quick way to share with our parents. Personally, things that we are committed to do, such as conducting daily temperature checks, providing hand sanitizers, cleaning types of surfaces, making sure the students have desk shields, encouraging the hand washing and so forth. And then we ask that they assist with self-screening, as I mentioned before, keeping the children at home with babies sick, and encouraging them to wear masks. Having the children bring their refillable water bottles so they can use touch water fountains. And then also letting the campus know if the child only needs a face shield or a mask, and we can definitely provide that for them. So as you know, we can only recommend face masks, so we're going to continue with that guidance. However, the CDC recently updated the guidance saying that people who are vaccinated, they highly recommend, because of the Delta variant, that they recommend mask usage. So if someone is displaying symptoms, we're gonna follow the procedures we follow throughout the past year. If they are symptomatic and are diagnosed with COVID, they have to stay out for at least 10 days, and they have to have improvement in their symptoms. Also, have to be free for 24 hours without aid medication. And this is the guidance that was put out by the AA, of course. They got guidance from CDC, and we, in essence, and use that. We're going to continue to provide transparency. We're going to provide notices that's happened throughout the pandemic. Anytime there's a positive case on campus, as a matter of fact, even throughout the summer, we've been providing notices. And this information is also being reported to the AA and then the county. Campuses will have access to telemedicine for students. At the nurse's office, where the parents can have that service. Students can get tested for COVID-19 or other things such as for the flu. They can receive prescription if they have after they see the doctor. They can check them out for things such as headache or photos and so forth right around the nurse's office on campus. We also are making available no cost COVID-19 testing to our partners through Curative, and also PCW for our employees, where they can get a test result in 15 minutes, and they don't have to pay for that. We're going to continue with our vaccination clinics. Our team, our nurses, and our custodians, our security guards, and our data insurers, as well as the COVID-19 task force, have been part of 21,650 vaccine administrations throughout the community. We've done 18 first dose clinics and 15 second dose clinics. So we are going to continue because that vaccination is the best protection against COVID-19.
Excuse me, Garcia, do you have a date for our next clinic?
Yes, actually, just released that, but it escapes me. It will be with Hidalgo County, Mr. Lee. I'm updating on the one that you just published on the Hidalgo County clinic, the next clinic, second dose, 14th, right? Okay, August 14th, yes. At NHS. In terms of facilities, we're talking about all of the projects that we have planned for indoor air quality. And as a matter of fact, the portable air filters for each classroom will be brought to the board on the 11th, so that we can purchase those and deploy them to each one of our classrooms right away. And they're going to continue with their testing on a daily basis, as well as all of the other cleaning efforts. And here is a picture of our Texas water fountains. Big shout out to our plumbing department, our maintenance staff, for installing these Texas water fountains. And they should be ready for the start of school. These are an image of the type of filters that we're looking for the classroom. And then in terms of child nutrition, we have expanded the dining areas in the campus. In the secondary schools, they also have the food trucks where they can eat outside. We're purchasing picnic tables for every single campus. So not only can they eat at the cafeteria, they can eat in their classroom, but they can also eat outside. And those picnic tables will also have umbrellas. A lot of them are not under recovery space.
How many picnic tables?
It's very current campus, but elementary campuses, some are getting around 15 each or so, and some need a little bit less, and need a little bit more. So it depends on their needs.
And we talked to the campus administrators, the CDC recommends not only eating outdoors, but also having lessons outdoors. And making sure that we utilize, the outdoors as much as possible. We know that sometimes with IEP index, that may be an issue. However, However, the campus principals are identifying their pavilions, and some of them have beautiful trees that provide a canopy of shade and so forth. And then also, some of the tables do have a place to insert those umbrellas. So the purchasing department has identified certain vendors that are by board that we can easily work with them, and they have been in contact with some of them to see, the volume. Also, Ms. Garcia and the staff have been working in looking at the enrollment numbers, and based on enrollment numbers, then we will designate so many tables per campus. So that this way, some students are able to eat in cafeterias, and others are able to eat outdoors, and we'll have plenty of physical distancing. And then we will still continue to utilize those tables during the day for learning activities. And with the concern with the heat, one of the things is that Child Nutrition Program had purchased some misting fans for the curbside meal distribution. So they have about 18 small fans. So we are going to deploy those 18 fans to our elementary campuses. We have 14 elementary campuses. For the 4 bigger campuses, we'll get an additional fan. Those will belong to them, while we purchase the bigger misting fans. And you will recall, with Mission Excellence, we utilized them at the stadium. And I told us that had it not been for those fans, I would have probably dehydrated. And so we are going to be purchasing some of those big fans, and we will purchase a couple of those per campus. The staff has also contacted vendors and looking for, because right now there's a lot of demand for those type of picnic tables, and we're looking at the picnic tables that we already have in our campuses, and they're sealed and are covered with some kind of a rubber, and they really last a long time through the elements. And so those the staff has been in contact with a variety of vendors to see, and we told the principals, because the first thing is, can we purchase our school colors? Well, we're going to see, what's available, because, we urgently need that, and so that will also be covered through ESSER funding, because they are quite expensive. However, we are doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that we have the healthiest learning and working environments for our children and staff. And so I can tell you, it has been a total team effort in working all these details and those kind of things.
Very much. In addition, we are asking the parents not bring in food deliveries for students, so that we can limit the number of visitors on the campus, and also the risk of transmission. Transportation, we have.
If I may add one more thing, we know that the food trucks, we announced that project 2 years ago, and then with the pandemic, supply and demand got in the way. However, with the food trucks, what will be served are items that kids like the most. The pizzas, the hamburgers, the tacos, those things that really, really get kids to enjoy. Burritos, those kinds of things, and those will be readily available and will be free of charge to every child. And the Child Nutrition Program staff and HR have worked together to recruit staff members. And I can tell you, 3 weeks ago, it was like, we don't know that we can make that happen. And we said, well, let's start brainstorming. How can we recruit? And I know that last week they told me they had 30 applicants. So the needs are being met. We're very excited. our secondary cafeterias, especially the high schools, they also have a cafe that serves salads and just a variety of food. So students will have many choices. And then there's some children that choose to bring a lunch as well. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
And transportation, we are cleaning and sanitizing the buses on a daily basis, also with the EMIS machines. They're being sanitized in between routes and at the end of the day. The school buses have hand sanitizers, and the students will sanitize their hands before entering and exiting the school bus. The bus driver will keep the windows slightly open to increase outdoor air ventilation, and will also run the AC for better air quality. We will be running our buses at almost full capacity, because now we will be transporting, we're planning for 100% in-person enrollment. Extracurricular activities, we did an awesome job, our coaches and our sponsors, in keeping our kids safe in the summer, as well as last spring with our varsity program. And then this summer we opened it up to sub-varsity as well, and other programs. So we will be participation this coming year. The whole plan of action with safety guidelines and so forth. We will continue that process.
Ms. Garcia,
Yes.
I think I read somewhere, I don't know, about some air quality filters that can be placed in buses. Is there something like that that exists for the air con?
We can certainly look into that as far as for the school buses.
Okay.
We can investigate that.
I think that, no, I was just gonna say, I think it is important. We're gonna take go in the classrooms, well, we gotta start at the buses too.
Yes.
Another thing that I read, just like in our own vehicles, how we have our filters changed at a certain mileage or so forth. That's another regulation that our buses also have. That, however, we can look at it to see if there's different gradients that can assist more.
The CDC has recommended that fully vaccinated individuals who have had a close contact exposure not be quarantined if they are not exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms. So that is a procedure that we're currently implementing. Fully vaccinated people, we are recommending that they be PCR tested 3 to 5 days following their exposure, and then make use of mask for the 14 days, and that they should monitor their symptoms. Although the risk that fully vaccinated people could become infected, we are seeing some breakthrough infections. It is a low risk, but any fully vaccinated person who experiences symptoms will need to report that to our COVID team and isolate themselves, and then be evaluated for COVID-19 and tested. We did a survey with Region 1, and we also looked at some information with the State Association in regards to some of the COVID options, like work from home. And I'm not aware of any district here locally that is allowing work from home options. Some of them stopped offering it last year. So what they were doing is either having the staff take their sick leave or FMLA or other resources. However, we were still allowing work from home. Human Resources will make a determination whether or not an employee can be allowed to work from home if the employee was exposed at work. So if they were exposed outside of work, then this would not apply to them. They would have to take their leave. The employee, first of all, has to be healthy enough to work from home, and they must be able to perform their essential duties from home. So this would be the only limited option that we are proposing to offer for work from home guidelines. And as I mentioned before, most of the neighboring districts are not offering work from home options. COVID leave, as you know, the Family First Coronavirus Response Act provided 2 weeks of COVID leave that did expire in December 31st of 2020. However, last year we did extend it, but that was only applicable for employees that had exhausted all leave. In other words, they had gone down to zero. So this, in essence, is more of a hardship leave. And again, this was also part of the survey. And most of the districts said that they were not going to extend it for this coming year. However, we felt that we should continue that to at least provide the employees that have run out of leave to be able to use up to 10 days. However, if they had previously exhausted those days through the FFCRA, then they've already used them. But if they haven't used them and then they go all the way down to zero, well, then they would have that available. And our employee benefits office is able to track who has used those days or not, so they would have to go through them to see. But it is, you know, we're being empathetic with our employees and providing this hardship leave.
Yes.
That's very good.
And one of the things that also has prompted us to do that is that, you know, even employees that have taken the vaccine may be able to contract the virus. So last year we provided that service, and we want to be able to continue that service if the employees did not utilize the days before and have exhausted all.
So I wanted to show you where you can find the two items that I just presented on the website. So here on the homepage, you see a banner on COVID-19 guidelines.
You can't see.
Oh, you can't? No. Oh, because I'm sharing the wrong screen. Sorry. Share website.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to our district homepage on the banner here, you'll see a banner for COVID-19 guidelines and then another one for ESSER federal grant information. So if you click on the banner, that will take you to our ESSER page and our grant application information, as well as the return to in-person continuity plan that we're required to post. Now, that one's also available over here on the COVID-19 guidelines, since it does deal with safety. And then there's, you know, frequently asked questions, the answers to them, the stuff that I've covered in the PowerPoint. There's also resources such as, you know, there's a video about the COVID testing sites, and here's the schedule for the ban and so forth. So there's all kinds of information. And we talk about our touchless water fountains and so forth. So the community and parents can click on that and get some answers related to our protocols.
I'd like to add also, because I know there's been a lot of back and forth with parents saying that, you know, we're not being considerate with the way we are right now. But the thing is that it's not about us, it's that the government did not allow us to do online classes, so we don't have a choice, and we're trying to do our best with what we have. So just wanted to point that out so parents can understand that it's not our decision to go in person, but it is the government that decided for us, so we just have to do our best. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
I'm still up.
Oh, okay.
It's not done.
Not done.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So the next item is we have several positions that we will be bringing, some later tonight at the special meeting and others for the August 11th. We have the ESSER Grant At-Risk Counselor for MHS, the ESSER Grant Academic Counselor for MHS, the ESSER Grant Accountant, College and Career Counselor for MHS, ESSER Grant At-Risk Counselor for BMHS, the Assistant Principal for Rafael Cantu Jr., and the Safety and Security Preparedness and Response Specialist. So out of those 7 that I just named, 6 of those will come back later tonight at the special meeting. The only one that's gonna come in the 11th from that group is the accountant. And then the rest of the items, the licensed professional counselors, the employee benefits payroll accountant, and the social workers dietitian. And of course, our assistant superintendent for finance, we are proposing to bring those back on August 11th.
Either the 11th or after.
Or after, depending on how that works out for us, the applicants. And then the next item is the Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System Appraisal Timeline. Every year we bring the timeline for approval to the board. We will have that for you on the 11th. And then we will also have the list of appraisers, which is the next item. The next item, item D, is the first reading and adoption of changes to board policy, DK local, assignments and schedules. And after reviewing this policy, which is basically the nepotism policy, with our legal counsel, we received a recommendation. So legal counsel worked with the administration to refine the policy, and the primary area of change would address the assignments of relative section of this policy. And in the attachment that is provided to you, the recommended changes. See. And it's listed at the bottom of page 1 of 2. An exception to this policy is that one relative of a head coach of an athletic program may be assigned to coach within that program. However, that coach will be evaluated by someone other than the head coach as determined by the principal. And this was to clarify an existing situation, and then other situations that may come down the road where we have a head coach and their relatives, but they're being supervised by another coach. And so,
Or
this, administrator, this would remove that conflict of interest situation. So we are recommending first reading and approval. So we will bring this back later tonight at the special meeting. And then the last item, in June, we had the first reading for DGBA local. And this time we are bringing it back for second reading and adoption of the changes. These were recommended by legal counsel, and it was to the employee complaints and grievances policy. So we would like to bring that also later tonight at the special board meeting. And that concludes my section.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Thank you.
And we have finance and Ms. Ruiz.
Thank you, Madam President. First item, the finance section of the agenda is presentations to the board. Item A, internal auditor quarterly report. Ms. Rebecca McGee, the district's internal auditor, will be making this presentation next week at our regular board meeting. Item number 2, discussion. Item A, 2001-2022 internal audit report. This agenda item is being brought forward for your consideration approval next week from Mrs. McGee's office. And this is a document that delineates the responsibilities and duties of the internal audit department and the different audits that you perform. Annual formality. So we will be bringing this item for your consideration. Item B is proposals and purchase of 50,000 and over. Item 1 is purchase of air systems for classrooms, 10522-0. This is one of the items that Mr. Rivera mentioned earlier in his presentation. We currently have a solicitation open, and we will be bringing a recommendation for the board next week at our regular board. Item 2, purchase of basic filter and media services, 144-22-0. Administration is bringing forward a recommendation on the AC filters. We had an existing contract. However, after we received feedback from Mr. Rivera on having a different filter with filtration or with a higher filtration than what we currently had in contract, it was decided that we needed to go out for solicitations. Previous contract had minimum efficiency reporting value of 8, and Mr. Rivera was recommending a level 11. The administration will be bringing forward a recommendation to recommend the award contract to Texas Filter Service Limited Liability Company, and the cost is estimated cost of $83,100. Item 3, purchase of intervention programs 212-22-00. This item will be brought forward for your consideration next week as well. Item 4, purchase of parental involvement program 241-22-11. This item was previously discussed by Ms. Risica earlier on the agenda, so we'll be placing this item under finance for your consideration and approval next month. Item number 5 is the purchase of medical and pharmacy stop loss insurance, and that one, Ms. Sylvia Cruz will be.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, superintendent. The item before us is the award contract for medical and pharmacy stop loss insurance RFP 45522.0. I did pass a presentation before you. Zach Acreage, who's going to do the presentation. Zach, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, Madam President, member of the boards, Dr. Perez, and administration. As Ms. Cruz mentioned tonight, we are to present the recent results of an RFP that was conducted in June, and the presentation tonight is going to reveal the financial results of this RFP. As Ms. Cruz mentioned, there was a RFP that was conducted for the medical and pharmacy stop loss insurance. Just as a quick reminder, this is all behind the scenes financial protection for the district. So this doesn't reflect anything that's going to be felt at the employee level as far as the medical insurance goes, but simply financial protection for the district. We did have 22 different stop loss insurance carriers review the RFP in the solicitation for their competitive pricing. Of that, we did receive 2 proposals from USI Companion Life and Granular Insurance. It is our recommendation tonight that the stop loss insurance be renewed with ISU Companion Life through SA Benefit with the current stop loss contract and deductibles. The overall proposal included a 3.8% increase to the stop loss premium for the district. From a financial perspective, this was about a $35,000 increase, which was the most competitive pricing that we did receive. They did increase the overall deductible per previous meetings. I know we had reviewed the claim volume, both medical and pharmaceutical, and so the overall aggregate deductible increase that they did propose was an 18.94% increase. Again, this is a direct reflection of just the claim volume that we have received. Both things considered, though, however, that is as a result of our recommendation that we do renew the current contract with ISU Companion Life through SA Benefits, simply because the overall expense expected to the district is the $35,230 as reviewed on page 2 of the RFP. There is the medical administration renewal that is going to be presented. We are expecting a relatively significant decrease in that. It is going to offset that $35,000 increase that we're seeing with the stop loss insurance. And so again, as a result, is our recommendation that we do renew the current contract with ISU and Companion Life. At this point, we'll open up to any questions or concerns.
Just so the board knows, we will bring next week a recommendation of the stop loss award.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. Thank you, Mr. Greeners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 6, purchase of school buses number 70322-0. We currently do have open a solicitation for this item. We will be bringing forward a recommendation to you next week on this as well. Item 7 is the renewal contract for reading passenger rental cars, 210-22-0. This item was also previously discussed on the agenda. Administration will bring forward a recommendation to renew for reading intervention program and programs at an estimated cost of $1,000, and this is funded by our city funds. Item 8 is the renewal of contract for fuel and oil number 750-22. Administration will be bringing forward a recommendation to all the previously awarded vendors that are attached to the tabulation list, and they are Arden Bailey Oil Company Limited, Holland Oil Company, and Oil Patch Fuel and Supply. The estimated cost is coming out of general fund, $130,000. Item 9, renewal contract for workers' compensation solutions.
On this item, we're recommending to award the contract Workers' Compensation Solutions for this 2020. We go back on September 1, 2004, Mission CISD entered into an interlocal agreement with WCS. And we did that with 43 school districts to provide workers' compensation for our district employees. On the 27th of July, they submitted the renewal to the district. Their premium is composed, we are modified self-funded with this plan. It's composed of a fixed cost and then the claims. So our premium for this year actually is going to total $489,255. And the base for the actual premium is composed of a payroll amount of $122 million, $716. And $957.21. $2 million is for bus drivers, $8 million for clerical, and $100 million for professional staff. And other is the $11 million. So we're proposing for the board to award the renewal to WCS. Any questions?
Did you tell us the difference from last year and this year? The difference up?
It was fixed. We entered a 3-year interlocal agreement. Basically, this year we did very well on the claims because of COVID. We didn't have as many injuries in the past. So those were minimal, but the fixed costs remain the same. The fixed cost covers a lot of the programs that we had for safety, as far as instruction to the employees, and then additional added services like footwear for all our auxiliary, our bus drivers, our town nutrition. We provide all those services to them.
We did good. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
The next item is the approval of renewal of the property and casualty insurance with PCAT for the 2020-21 school year. This did come at an increase. MCISD does have the property and casualty insurance with PCAT. It renewed September 1, 2021. The property and casualty insurance covers property, equipment breakdown, the cyber suite, cybersecurity, general liability, educators, legal liability, crime liability, auto liability, and auto physical damage. PCAT has submitted the 2021-22 school year renewal. It came at a premium of $1.3 million. The premium did increase by $239,000. The reason is a tribute to, of course, a deterioration of the property insurance in certain insurance markets since 2019. We've had, of course, the HANA losses, and there's been a lot of activity in the insurance market. I do have Chase Carlisle, who's the vice president of the company. Are you there, Chase?
Yes, ma'am.
But he's there. Do you have any questions? The premium came in and we are looking for the PCAT of $1.3 million to renew the contract for that. Now, this premium covers, we're insuring property values of $496 million and contents of $76 million. We just, any questions on the property and casualty?
I mean, we have to, this is a renewal, right?
This is a renewal.
Did we look around to see, I mean, $239,000, that's a difference, right? And I understand everything that's going on, but did you look around to other companies or not?
So on the property side, this was, it's gonna end this year. So we would look at the market for next year. On the PNC side, that's fixed. The one that's very volatile is gonna be our property insurance. And again, that has to do with, natural disasters or claims we submit.
Yeah.
We did have a freeze, we did have a claim for a hurricane.
Yeah.
So those, we can look at that, we are open to look at that as early as probably next June, ma'am, on the property side.
On the property side? And I do understand because I do understand, that, it's like our home insurance. You make a claim and then it goes up, so.
Yeah, true.
Had, several claims, I know.
In addition, we did add the annex.
Oh,
The
okay.
insurance coverage. We've also added, vehicles for the Cape program.
Okay.
And buses as well.
And the arrows, all the cars. Yeah, I can see.
So that increases.
Oh, yeah,
the whole package.
for sure.
Yeah, you had more stuff to insure.
Yes.
Yes.
More things were insured. Okay.
And that's why it's good to go out and get other bids too, because they're going to be competitive too, trying to get the business.
So I don't know, Chase, you want to just chime in and talk a little bit about the market?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's no stranger to everybody. We all watch the news. We saw what happened in 2020 with the social unrest, the COVID. We had the freeze this past spring. Last year, we were all affected by Hannah as well. But not only that, the Atlantic hurricane season went through basically every name in the book that they assigned to the Atlantic hurricane season, plus half the Greek alphabet. So globally, we buy insurance from the global providers. So globally, the insurers were affected pretty drastically last year as well. I would like to say that, we did go out on behalf of the district ourselves. We approached approximately 30 different insurance carriers. We're an independent agency, so we're not committed to any specific insurance company. So we did market the property insurance on your behalf. We did provide the staff with that report, all the responses from those 30 markets that we did approach. And what's being presented tonight is the best thing that we were able to find on the open market.
Thank you. It's just like Ms. Ramirez was saying, we're not seeing the differences. So but I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Cruz or Chet, the casualty insurance, did you say it went up the premium increased by how much?
$239.
So, we went up by
$239,000.
1.5%.
I'm sorry, by how much? I didn't hear.
21.5%, so prior year was 1.1 million, and we're gonna renew at 1.3 million.
But
So
that's
it's
being,
increased
that's
to 239,000.
But we had additions, correct?
correct. And that's being driven by the property insurance. Your casualty part, which includes your school buses, your school board liability, your workers' comp, your cyber liability. That stuff is on the lower scale of the premium. I mean, you guys, the property insurance is what drives the casualty side, which is again the school buses, the school board liability, et cetera, was only about a $10,000 increase if I did my math right there. So that's not what's driving your cost increase. Your cost increase is coming from your property insurance, and that's. I mean, we're fortunate enough to be the insurance brokers for about 90% of the districts along 83 down there. And what we're seeing in the market, you know, with all your peers right now is anywhere between a 15 and a 25% rating. You had a hand of claims or you didn't. That's what the market's driving right now.
Yes, ma'am. The next item on the agenda is consideration and approval of renewal for dental insurance with Humana 2021-22 school year. Mission CISD currently offers its employees the option to enroll for dental insurance at their own expense. Basically, we offer two plans to the employees. We offer the high plan and the low plan.
And the services that are covered under the dental are preventative services, basic service, major service, and orthodontist services. On July 29, 2021, Humana submitted to the district the dental insurance renewal for the new school year, and the rates did come at a 5% increase. The rate increase was attributed to an increased utilization of the plan by the employees. Our claims went up. They're projected to go up to 513,000. It's a 4% increase trend that they're projecting. Our loss ratio is 87%, which means that the company is actually losing money on us. And Zach, you're there to add anything you like. So they came with a renewal 5% increase. And we're very happy to say that we actually, when we went originally out to bids, they did offer a cap of 5. If we didn't have that cap, they would have increased a little bit more. So we're kind of happy that they kept it at that point. So right now, in the low plan, we have 535 district employees that are participating. In the high plan, we have 815 employees. So on the employee tier, on the employee only, the employees are going to pay 76 cents more per month on the low plan, and then they have the family plan, they're going to pay $2.01.
Not bad.
The high plan, they're going to pay $1.27 more on the employee only tier. If they're in the family tier, 3.30 is more per year, per month, I'm sorry. So, administration is recommending to renew the Humana at this point. We did research other companies and based on what we analyzed, and Zach, do you want to talk a little bit about what you did? There?
He's gone.
Okay, he's gone. So you there?
No.
He went to sleep.
Okay, if he's gone, basically what we did, we looked at TASB and we compared the actual premiums and the network, and of course, the Humana network is a lot more broad, and the plan is more strong. So our recommendation is, we feel at this point that the 5% is reasonable, and we'll see next year how it comes, and we can certainly take it out for. At this time, I would like to ask the permission of the board if we can discuss an item, Dr. Bettis. Definitely. Ma'am, because we got it a couple of days ago. And I wanted to, it's the consideration and approval of renewal for administrative services only agreement of the Mission CIC self-funded group health insurance plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas for the 2021-22 plan year. So this is the ASO contract is third-party administrative services to actually administer the plan for the district. They came back, and I'm happy to announce to the board that they came back on a fixed cost. We were able to renew at a 69% decrease, which was excellent.
Excellent.
So
Excellent work.
thank you, sir. We were paying. It's a projected decrease of $92,000. One of the reasons that we saw the decrease is because of our pharmacy rebates. So because our pharmacy rebates are strong, our administrative costs came down from last year. We were paying about $100,000, and now we're going to be paying $1,000 per year. And that's a little bit about what Zach talked about, how the decrease is savings is going to offset the on the stop loss. So if we may add this item to the agenda,
sure.
Next item on the agenda, it's item C. Authorized purchases from district approved purchasing cooperatives. Last year, in June 2020, we did bring an agenda item to the board for consideration, where the board was dedicating authority to the superintendent to make purchases up to $500,000 from each of the purchasing co-ops for the district co-op participants. And that delegation came in very handy last year when we were trying to secure instructional devices for all of our students, and we brought that agenda item several times to the board because we were meeting those limits, very often. And so, administration is wishing to continue that practice. So we are bringing this agenda item for your consideration so that you can delegate, that authority once again to the superintendent. When we are planning to make purchases using the different purchasing co-ops that the district participates.
And right now, most of the funding is coming from ESSER funds.
Excuse me?
Most of the funding
Yes,
is coming
yes.
from ESSER funds, such as the tables, such as those kinds of things that we need like right away.
Yes, ma'am. And we will ensure we follow, compliance with procurement. As we all know, the conditions keep on changing, and so if in case there's a need for the superintendent to exercise this, delegation, this delegation will allow, the district to continue, making the purchases with minimal interruption to, curriculum or any other services, any other departments that may have a need.
However, updates and reports will still be coming to the board of such extent.
Next item. Item B, interlocal agreement with Region 1 Education Service Center. This is an annual formality. The district has been having an interlocal agreement in place with Region 1 for different purchases that we make and also for a local assessment fee where the superintendent belongs to the Regional Advisory Council with other superintendents in the area. There's also a Finance Advisory Council. There's PIMS, councils, HR, and there's also one for curriculum. We also participate in different co-ops, the purchasing co-op, the PIMS co-op, library services and media co-ops. And so the district does have a need to continue with this interlocal agreement. We haven't received all of the costs right now, but we do anticipate that this will be about $200,000 once we start receiving the different pricing from the regional service center. The administration will be recommending this item for approval next week. Item E is an interlocal agreement with South Texas College for tuition. Mission CISD has a long-standing relationship with STC and the South Texas College as its higher education partner. We do have different terms with STC. The most notable is going to be the high school and the academics program as required by the Texas Higher Education Board. We also have a lot of programs with Korean technology education for different certification courses. Administration will be bringing forward a recommendation of approval of interlocal agreement with South Texas College for tuition. The estimated amount that we anticipate for this interlocal would be about $650,000. Item F is the budget amendment. Administration is bringing forward a budget amendment to increase expenditures in general fund by $4,372,016. This amount seems large, however, a lot of the construction projects were started in prior year, and those projects are, because they're construction, usually they tend to take a long time. And so some of those, we are making those monies available in the current year as we have purchase orders and there are some other contracts that may have already been in place. We're bringing over the purchase orders, but now we need to take care of the funding. The most notable budget amendment is going to be with the Tom Landry renovations project. That one is a little bit over $1 million, and that was discussed earlier by Mr. Adrian Hernandez. And so that's going to be the largest project here. We also have about $600,000 for the Korean Technology Education Department that we issued a lot of purchase orders before the end of the fiscal year, and unfortunately, those items did not come through. Those are instructional items that are needed for the program. And so with this amendment, the total general fund expenditures budget would be $185,244,859. Item G is donations. Administration will be bringing forward for your consideration a donation, this donation agenda item, donations received for the period were $17,000, and they were made up of different small amounts. And the largest amount that we did receive was $10,000, and that came from the Education Foundation for the Back to School Bash. I also would like to share with the board that we're working with a community member that reached out to me a couple of weeks ago, where they have expressed, an interest in making a donation to the school district in the amount of $259,000. We have made contact, we've made several contacts with this representative. And because the money is invested in mutual funds, we're working with our depository as well to make a transfer and make that money available to the school district. The intent of the donation is to be for scholarships for both Mission High School and Veterans Memorial. And so we're hoping to finalize that transaction in the very near future. We can bring that agenda item for your consideration and approval as well.
Good.
You may know that the individual behind the donation, there's a lady by the name of Maria del Rosario Peña. She used to be an employee of the school district. And we do have a program on the scholarships called Sukasa Scholarship. And she has been behind the scenes funding some of those monies for those students. Item H, it's the resolution stating annual review of investment policy and investment strategy. This is an annual formality. Every year we're required to bring this agenda item to the board. What training we are attending to comply with the Investment Act, the investment policy and investment strategy, the list of qualifying brokers and dealers, or the investment officers for the school district. Administration will be bringing this item for your consideration as well. The next item is the sale of real property. We are bringing this item for your consideration at the special board meeting, but earlier in the year, the spring semester, there was an agenda item brought forward for the board to declare property as surplus, and the board approved this property, approved the resolution as well. And so we're ready to present the item to the board so that the board can accept the offer that we have received and move on with the sale, with the transaction to sell the property. Item 3 is informational. Item 1. Item A, is the annual internal audit plan for 21-22. This is also coming from Ms. Betty's office, and it delineates the different audits she's going to be working on throughout the year, different audits that she'll be performing, campus audits. Item B is the fourth quarter investment. For the quarterly report ending on June 30th, 2021, the district had invested $91,088,832.06, and the interest earned in this quarter was $13,463. Item C is the tax levy adjustments for the month of June. Tax roll adjustments resulted in a net decrease of $11,032.10. The collections for the month total $436,200.10, and the district pays a monthly fee for the service of $6,271. I do want to share with you that for the current year, percentage for collections is 94.64. Over prior years, collections rate of 93.50 at the same time. This reflects a 1.14% increase in collections, which reflects a very, very good, strong economic situation in our district. And so I'm very pleased to share with you that we do have a high collection percentage. We hope that this will continue for the 2021 tax year. Item D is the cash disbursements for the month of June. The total disbursements for this month total $14,900,515.12, and this is made up of accounts payable, check vendors, the district's purchasing cards, other bank transactions such as automated clearinghouse at $2.6 million, wire transfers, and payroll $7.2 million. Usually June tends to be a large month for disbursements. Okay, those are all the items I have. May I go over the?
Yes, ma'am.
May we move all the item A to consent? Item B, can we move everything with the exception of the air systems, the intervention programs, and the fleet school buses? And then items C, D, E, F, G, and H. And we will be adding the item that Ms. Cruz discussed for the administrative services.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all for finance studies.
Do I adjourn for now and just have the report? It is 9:34. I'm going to close this meeting and give everybody a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, do we need to log off and then re-log on to the other one, or we're okay to stay here?
You need to use the other link.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Okay, what do they need to do? I don't think they heard.
Do they stay on?
The new
Yes,
link.
The new
Yes.
Yes, it's a separate link because it's a different meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll help them through that transition.
They'll help you get back on in 10 minutes.
It's on the website, on the mission website under the first link that you clicked on.
Yes, I saw that.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
PM. I am now going to do roll call.
Ms. Mendoza, if you can wait for her real quick, she's joined her already.
Oh, okay. Okay, she's Ms. Mendoza.
Okay, Jerry Zamora. Veronica Mendoza. She's on her way, I know that. Petra Ramirez. Present. Aris Iglesias.
Present.
Juan Gonzalez.
Present.
Roy Vela. And myself, Minnie Rogers. There are 5 of us, so we do have a quorum. At this time, would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Honor.
Under the Texas
Flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas. State, one and indivisible.
I guess our moment of silence would be to thank everyone that is here today. We know there's a lot of illness going around or people not feeling well. So those of us that are at home, thank you for at least coming on for us. So thank you, everyone. Ms. Cindy, do I have any comments from the public?
Ricky Longoria, and his topic will be community walk.
Mr. Longoria, I'm going to read a script first for you. Whatever I did with it. It's not the one I wanted.
An announcement?
I had it in my hands a minute ago. De tanto papel. Sorry, I got it. As we do prior to public comments, I will now state that the Board of Trustees will now hear comments from those persons who have signed up to speak. This portion of the meeting is set aside for parents, students, and community members to speak to the Board of Trustees about any matter of interest to them pertaining to the school program. Under board policy, the Board of Trustees has allowed 30 minutes to hear persons who desire to make comments to the board on subjects that do not appear on the agenda. Each person who speaks on a subject that is not on the board agenda may speak for not more than 5 minutes. Delegation of more than 5 persons who will speak on a subject that is not on the board agenda shall appoint 1 person to present their views for the board no more than 5 minutes. Under Texas Government Code 551007, the board will hear public comments concerning an item appearing on the agenda. No presentation shall exceed 5 minutes. Persons that use translators will be allowed 10 minutes. When more than 5 persons seek to provide public comments on items appearing on a meeting agenda, the presiding officer may reduce the time allotted for each person to give public comment to 3 minutes per person that do not need translators. When the maximum presentation time is reduced, persons who utilize translators shall be allotted twice the amount of time to comment as a person who does not utilize a translator. All public comments is limited to individuals who have signed up for public comments before the beginning of the meeting. During this part of the meeting, the Board of Trustees will listen, but it will not engage in dialogue or debate with speakers. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by their comments. While it is not the board's intent to stifle public comments, speakers should be aware that their statements violate the right of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy. Speaker may be held legally responsible. The board reminds speakers that public comment is not the time or place to bring the board complaints about a particular employee or individual. The board has adopted specific complaint policies and specific procedures for presenting those complaints. Those policies require a written complaint, administrative conferences, and a request that the item be placed on the agenda for a board meeting. If I, as presiding officer, determine that a presentation made during this portion of the meeting is a complainant that falls within the scope of one of the school district grievance policies, I will respectfully ask the presenter to stop speaking and to use the board adopted policies and procedures so that the concern can be heard in the appropriate way. The board expects that request to be honored. You may now speak to us.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
My name is Ricky Longoria. I'm a Sharyland ISD school board member, your neighbor to the east. The purpose of my being here today is really to extend a warm and personal invitation to an event that Sharyland ISD is hosting. It is really our first annual large event, if you will. It's a Sharyland ISD prayer walk. Just by quick background, last year, as all schools faced challenges of what we were going to do when school started. You may remember also about this time, we were coming off the month of July, and unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives during that time. And recognizing that challenge and trying to go through our checklist like you all do of all the things we can possibly do to keep our employees safe, our children safe, and our community safe, there's one thing that we felt that we had to do. And so we actually did a pilgrimage to the San Juan Shrine last year of school board members and administrators. It was an impromptu thing. It was something that we felt we had to do. It was a over 9 mile journey. And not only was it a blessing to do, but it was very well received by our educators, not just from our district, but surrounding districts as well. I would argue today that this year our challenges are no different. In fact, I would even argue today that our challenges are even harder and that we are being asked to open schools. And masks are not being required, as you all know, as evidenced by the meeting before this moment. And so we felt we had to do it again. And knowing that we're our neighbors, knowing that we all have our same common issue, this is not a particular district issue, we felt that we should bring all educational communities together, take a moment of silence on a Saturday morning, which will be held this Saturday, August 7th at 7:30. Working towards a common cause. Again, we'll have our own blessing, a moment of silence, and we will simply walk. Pardon the pun, but I think it would be a great opportunity to show our educators to include not just teachers, but also our administrators, our communities, our parents, our kids, that we are willing to walk that extra mile. And I mean that in a very literal sense. And so we coordinate with the city of Mission, the county of Hidalgo, the city of Palmhurst. I've extended the same invitation to our neighbors to the east in McAllen ISD. They intend to have some folks join us as well. Again, it has been very well received from the educational community, knowing that we are taking a moment to honor and pray as we open the school year, to include teachers, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our custodians, everybody involved in that educational process. So again, the spirit of me being here today is just to invite you personally And hopefully, some of you all can attend. I realize it's a big ask. Just so you know, the entire walk is over 6 miles. And I realize that a walk is over 6 miles is not necessarily for everyone. And so, but certainly those that are able, certainly those that can, and certainly if you can't, if you just think about us on that morning. But again, we're all in this together. This is not a district issue or a district concern, but it's an opportunity for all of us to get together in one common place, recognize the challenge that we have before us, and show everybody how much we care. So that's my reason for being here. So
Thank you very much, Mr. Longoria. We
Sure thing.
appreciate your coming
Sure thing.
so much.
I'm going to leave some flyers here in case you all want them.
Good.
But I'll leave them there and hopefully we'll see some of you all out there.
Good.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, sir. Next on the agenda, superintendent's updates and recognition. If you have any other new ones, sir.
Absolutely, we all.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but Ms. Minnie, did you let him know that I'm in the meeting now? Because I think the meeting had started.
No, but I was told that you were trying to get on.
Okay.
I'll get you in. You're counting in, Betty.
Are you there, Betty?
I'm here.
Okay, Dr. Pettis?
Yes, of course, we always have more celebrations. And the newest celebration that we just received is that Mission CISD received the highest score possible for the financial integrity rating system from the Texas Education Agency and got 100%. That is remarkable work from the finance, accounting division, and every single individual in the district that works with any expenditures. Because the ratings, they look at everything that, the turnaround, number of days with POs, the financial statements, the teacher retirement system, the payments, the fund balance, over the last 3 years. It's just within the last 3 years, the first, we call it the first, we love acronyms, but the financial integrity system and the rating has become much more rigorous within the last 3 years. And Mission CISD has a tradition of excellence. For the last 19 years, it has received superior achievement, which means that the point structures would be from 95 to 100%. However, like I said, the last 3 years, it has become very meticulous. So again, we want to congratulate Mrs. Ruiz, her staff, and every single staff member in the district that has anything to do with funding and expenditure. So congratulations.
It takes a team.
Great job.
On another note, we will have convocation. As you realize, working to prepare convocation or General Assembly for the beginning of the year takes months of preparation. Just the way we handled graduation in May, because the conditions were very favorable. We were planning to have convocation at the arena and had secured dates with plenty of time in advance. As a matter of fact, we kept getting calls that other districts wanted our dates. And however, as conditions have changed, we have adopted a more conservative approach to convocation. As you are aware, for the last 18 months, we've been very conservative in making sure that our staff and our children are in healthy environments. Therefore, on Monday, as I advised the board, in consultation with health authorities and the executive leadership team, we were able to move convocation, which will be held August the 12th, to a more virtual setting. We will still have it at the Newhouse Gym at Mission High School, which was the location that we had our speaker last January. And we will still have a great convocation. A lot of planning has taken place. The only thing we're changing is the venue. Our staff will have the opportunity to view it from the comfort of their classroom desk. In some instances, different groups may be able to physically space out in large rooms. So there may be a variety of settings. Also, Monday, August 16th will be the first day of school, and we will continue, as you are aware, to follow all safety protocols as advised by our authorities. And here at Mission CISD, we go above and beyond to the recommendations. So all district facilities will continue to be disinfected daily with our Clorox 360 e-misting machines, along with our buses, and all day long, high usage areas will be thoroughly cleaned as well. Touchless water fountains have been installed and will continue to be installed in every school building so that they can be ready for the first day of school. We also, we project that we will probably be finishing by next week. However, we also have plenty of water bottles in case we need that. Hand sanitations will be available at the entrance of every school, also in classrooms. And we strongly continue to recommend that every single individual in our buildings follow the 3 Ws. Washing our hands as often as possible, watching our distance, and wearing masks. And that's it for the update.
Thank you. Are we going to
Okay,
go into?
next item on the agenda, yes, is, the recommendation for the positions, and we're going to reserve those for executive session. Therefore, we're going to continue with number 2, first reading and adoption of changes to board policies.
Yes, as discussed in the workshop, we are proposing approval for the first reading and adoption of the changes to board policy DK local assignment and schedules.
Do I have a motion?
I so move.
I second.
There's a motion by Ms. Betty Mendoza, a second from Ms. Petra Ramirez. I will ask you now for your individual vote. Ms. Mendoza?
Aye.
Ms. Petra? Aye. Aris Iglesias?
Aye.
Juan Gonzalez?
Aye.
Roy Vela? Minnie Rogers? Aye. 5-0. Motion carries.
Item number 3, second reading and adoption of changes to board policy DGBA local employee complaints and grievances. We're also asking for approval on the second reading and adoption.
I so move.
Motion on the floor by Ms. Petra Ramirez,
I second it.
second by Mr. Juan Gonzalez. Ms. Mendoza, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Ramirez?
Aye.
Aris Iglesias?
Aye.
Mr. Juan Gonzalez?
Aye.
And myself? Motion carries 5-0.
Item number 4, consideration and possible action regarding the sale of real property. Administration discussed this item briefly at the board workshop earlier this evening. Administration is bringing forward this agenda item for your consideration and possible approval And, the board had previously, approved a resolution to declare the property surplus and to, put the property for sale. This is a property located on 1101 Dunlap, and this is, located, next to the Chamber of Commerce. The district currently uses this facility for storage of, records and some other needs from the warehouse. The legal description of this property is lot 7 and 8, block 187, Mission Original Town Site, excuse me, and the appraised value was 209,242. The district did put a solicitation out for advertising, and it closed on July 29. We received one offer only, and the offer came in at $215,000. Administration is bringing forward a recommendation that the board president be authorized to enter into a sale contract and execute any and all the instruments appropriate or necessary to complete the sale. We did get assistance. We've been working closely with our legal counsel for this, for all the documentation on this transaction.
Do I have a motion?
I say we move.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Juan Gonzalez, a second by Ms. Aris.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor, never mind. Ms. Mendoza?
Aye.
Mrs. Petra Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Aris Iglesias?
Aye.
Mr. Juan Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Minnie Rogers, yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now go into executive session.
Before we go into executive session, important dates to remember again. August 11th, 2021, next Wednesday, regular Board of Trustees meeting at 6:30 PM. September 1st, 2021, Board of Trustees workshop at 6:30 PM. September 8th, 2021, regular Board of Trustees meeting at 6:30 PM.
One question, what was the day of convocation?
It will be August the 12th.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Thank you.
We will now go into executive session with private consultation with Board Attorney, Texas Government Code 551-071, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee. Deliberation regarding real property. A closed meeting, a governmental body may conduct, well, that's where we are right now, never mind. Now I guess that's it, and it is now 10:10. So we are in closed session now.
Mike?
Test.
Testing.
It is 10:37. We're back from executive session. Dr. Pettis?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to move into recommendation and approval of positions. A, ESSER 3 grant. Counselor for Mission High School. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Ruby Madrigal.
So move.
Second.
I second.
Okay. Petra, did you make the motion?
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor from Ms. Petra Ramirez, seconded by Mr. Juan Gonzalez. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. 5-0.
ESSER 3 grant. Academic Counselor for Mission High School. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Liz Acosta.
I so
I so move.
Second.
Liz Acosta.
Se peleen.
I so move.
Nadie.
Followed by
I
Aris
so move.
Iglesias, seconded by Betty Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
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 Ya está dormido.
Motion is 5-0. Thank you, everyone.
College and Career Counselor for Mission High School. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Maria Barrera.
I so move.
I so move.
I second.
So motion on the floor from Ms. Petra Ramirez, seconded by Mr. Juan Gonzalez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
ESSER 3 grant funded at-risk counselor for BMHS, and the administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Rita Perez.
I so move.
I second.
Second.
The honor is sweet. Motion on the floor by Petra Ramirez, seconded by Betty Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
Assistant Principal for Rafael Cantu Junior High. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Manuel Villarreal.
I so move.
I
Motion on the
second.
floor by Ms. Petra Ramirez, seconded by Mr. Juan Gonzalez. All those in favor say aye.
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 5-0, motion carries.
ESSER 3 funded position, Safety and Security Preparedness and Response Specialist. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve James Cardoza.
I so
I
move.
so move.
I
So
so move. I so
Second.
move.
I so move first.
Motion now. Okay, motion on the floor by Ms. Aris Iglesias, seconded by
La
Ms. Petra
última.
Ramirez.
I second it.
Say aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, guys. Ready, set, Dr. Briggs. Ready?
Bueno, vámonos.
Vámonos.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Motion that we adjourn, seconded by Juan Gonzalez, and all five of us say yes. So it is now
Aye.
21. Good night, everyone. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you all, and thanks technology for taking care of us.
Minnie, thank you for both of us coming. Damas ya están en la casa.
Where'd it go? I know
I don't know about that one.
Petra's bringing us lunch